We're live. I think we're live. Are we live? Zero question. And yes, this is not our normal stream day, and I was not planning to stream at all, actually. And yet, here we are, listening to Carl Casey at White Bat Audio, listen to some Dark Descent, royalty-free on YouTube. If you're watching us on Twitch, we are live. If you're watching us on YouTube, we are not live. I repeat, YouTube, we are not live. And I am not the first to break this news. Several other people have already broken it. I want to shout out Amalgamash on YouTube. He has not one, but two, last time I checked, videos about Rise of the Dread Moon, HeroQuest expansion, Rise of the Dread Moon. There's a flurry of news came out, and we were all taken off guard because usually we expect to see this sort of thing on Friday. It's only Wednesday. So I've got a couple of guests with me today. Ribby, who you may remember from such things as MentorBot and the dice rolling, and some really cool graphics for that. And also Carnigal, frequent contributor to our show here. And so you're going to be seeing all kinds of stuff in my web browser here. So this is, of course, Carl Casey. There's a great article up here by Elviler. He had to go earlier, but this is one of those things. It's just something that I like to do where I want to get my opinion out there and not be as influenced by other people as I can, even though, like, I mean, we're all pretty much doing the same thing. We're all looking at news and commenting on it. So Amalgamash is probably going to touch on all the points that I'm going to talk about now, or maybe he'll make some better points, so definitely check him out. Definitely go see his videos. I think he was the first one I saw that was commenting. But yeah, so Rise of the Dread Moon, there was this new, I'll just start at the beginning. So this is elviler.com, Elviler's Game Room. He's got a whole article about this. Whoa, what's all this? What's all this stuff? So if I go to Eilden here, the discussion was happening, asking about a rant cast. Sorry, we're not doing a rant cast tonight. Zavvi.com has posted up a ton of info that we didn't previously have. Because up until now, we just had the same, like, 8 miniatures over and over from different angles and the same handful of cards. So let's see, where is the post? Okay, Luca Rocks today, 8 hours ago. BBTS pre-orders are up. So Big Bad
That's
Toy
Big
Store.
Bad Toy Store.
Oh yeah. All right, that's the first of our guests here tonight. Big Bad Toy Store. Yeah, several of us have ordered stuff from them. So only front and side covers shown. Unfortunately, I still say the set isn't going to have a lot of minis. Thankfully, he was wrong. Yeah, why wouldn't they show them off? Right, and then speak of the devil, it happens. So I try to credit people that I see posted it before me. So at least on our corner of the internet, Tripoli, Blaze, and Luca Rocks. The pre-order link for Big Bad Toy Store. And here's the picture, nothing too special, just there it is. We noticed the higher price, and they were saying July 2023. Okay, whatever. No big deal, right? I don't pre-order stuff personally. I'd rather order. I'm not worried that I'm not going to get it on time. So Luca Rock says, I think you're right. Here's the description. The HeroQuest Rise of the Dread Moon Quest Pack is an expansion for the original HeroQuest game that features all new, never played before quests. That's true. New elven furniture elements. Oh, interesting. Elven furniture again. Game cards with new spells and treasures, we could have guessed. A Guardian Knight playable character, premium miniatures, and tile sheets that introduce the Realm of Reflection to the game. So this Realm of Reflection we've been hearing about, do you guys remember, was that ever mentioned in the original Mage of the Mirror? Because I've only played, like,
yes, it was.
First quest. Okay.
And it was actually, I'm going to have to see when the content becomes available what they actually did with it, because I expanded the role of the Realm of Reflection a little bit in my remix of that quest pack. So
nice. Well, that's
I may have to go back to the old scratch pad again when to harmonize things.
They have stated that they're forging ahead with developing new lore not just rehashing the old lore for Hero Quest, which is fine. And that, of course, makes it very hard to predict what they're going to do. Everybody sort of has a theory, but what they actually do may be totally stupid, it may be totally awesome, it may be just somewhere in between. We don't know.
But I mean, minor spoilers, I guess, for Mage of the Mirror.
Yeah,
but that's where
we knew this was taking place after Mage of the Mirror, but the fact is, some people who buy this will have never played Mage of the Mirror. They'll just play this, and it's not necessary. The only thing they require is that you have the game system.
Yep.
This whole you got to play all the quest packs in a certain order. Who has
No,
the
I was
time
just going to say, Realm of Reflection is where the Elven Princess is being held prisoner.
Right. So it's not the Mirror universe of Star Trek.
Yeah, I'm looking at the quest book here. I see it now.
All right. And don't worry, I will go through this, and I will solicit you guys to really hammer these opinions. But I just want to get kind of through the basics here first. So, quest book 10 all new, never before played quests. We could have guessed that. So it's following similar template. But then we kind of veer off. There's 39 game cards with new spells and treasures. So quite a few more than what we were thinking. 2 double-sided tile sheets that introduces a Realm of Reflection. 33 premium miniatures. Okay, but then there was a discrepancy. We thought these numbers are maybe slightly different than what we're seeing.
Yep.
So I responded, okay, thanks to Sledgehammer pointed out Hasbro's page is updated too. So Hasbro Pulse, and I always copy and paste it because I always want to see like what they're actually saying. So they're saying $44.99. We've seen this before. Got the product description. It says pre-order. Pre-order does not mean that you're going to get it. Oh, here it is. Doesn't mean you're going to get it early. Zargorn. As a brave knight, you're challenged to finally free Elathorn from the clutches of Zargorn.
We got to ping Anchorman about that.
There's a big conspiracy that this is not the real Zargon. It's Zargorn. So.
Wow! Wait a second. They made the typos more than once.
Yeah. So there's been a copyright claim from TSR. They've come back from the grave and they want Zargon back. So we're going to change everything to Zargorn.
Except then it says it does say Zargon the third time.
So
you've got two Zargorns and a Zargon. Maybe the heroes
cruelty, his will to dominate all life. Where is Grimdead in
this?
We don't know.
Maybe this time around the heroes can just sit back and watch Zargorn's forces just go at it. Over who's the real Dread Lord,
These guys are tired. This is going to be an epic battle. Yeah, these guys are tired. They're trying to get a release out, so we shouldn't be too hard on them. But anyway.
They need Muntor's help.
Muntor. Hey, don't you be talking bad about Muntor.
Is Muntor Mentor's lesser-known younger brother? Is that the, yeah.
He's got some real talent, though. If you give him a chance, get to know him. Get a few beers in him. He's not.
I don't know.
So
Mentor's last protege didn't work out so well.
Yeah. F6646. So people are saying maybe that'll be the name of the PDF file if you're looking for the scan of the quest book when it finally becomes available. So here we get the real scoop. So 58 game cards, 10 quests, set in an elven world of monsters, traps, treasure, and Dread Moon spells. Dread Moon spells. Interesting. Add to your collection of miniatures. This tabletop game expansion comes with 29, which is more than I think most have included thus far, detailed miniatures. But they do include in that furniture. So there's furniture, elven warriors.
I do feel like that's an interesting choice in terms of how they're presenting it, that I would guess most fans wouldn't put furniture in with miniatures.
You've got one mighty knight, and then you've got 100 tables.
Right. It's like, is that a 101 miniature pack, or is that a 1 miniature pack?
Yeah.
You know?
I get what you're saying. I mean, technically they are miniatures, and people do paint them, and they are all plastic. But yeah, one's a character, and unless you're saying it's a mimic or something, it's probably not a character.
Yeah.
It's just background.
It's also not nothing, I think that the decision to throw the extra elven furniture pieces into Mage of the Mirror, I thought that was a really significant value add.
Oh yeah. Well,
right. I just wouldn't have characterized them as miniatures personally, but
yeah. So a quibble with the hype.
Yeah.
thanks for the support, because I heard Macho Man Randy Savage going, yeah! Oh,
Oh yeah!
Yep. And then it's often, everybody I know follows it up with, snap to a Slim Jim! Because that was...
I like what they went with when in the, I think it was a mod for Skyrim, which I never played, but
Yeah.
I saw the funny videos about it, where they make the dragons have like the Macho Man head with the hat on,
funny.
and they replace the dragon roar with Macho Madness, sky's the limit.
Stay away from the madness, yeah.
Montour's going nowhere.
Got him for 3 quests of playtime. Okay, so the realm of reflection must be the mirror world that the princess is trapped in. So, yeah, Lucarox has got it. So I'm just going to kind of skip through some of these comments. Sorry. Because I was trying to get work done and do this, and I was like, oh man, like I'm not trying to kill myself doing this here. But see, that's the great thing about the HeroQuest fans community. It's not the Kurgan show. I mean, yes, I have a show, but you guys do the work, and I just reap the benefits. See, it all works out. And some people do it better than us in one area, and some, we do it better in some other area, and it all comes together in the end. So I was just commenting, yeah, we're gonna see other sites updating their stuff. Okay, so yeah, Lucarox is talking. Yeah, you could paint a goatee on your characters to make them the evil twins, like in Star Trek. Okay.
I always thought that trope was actually kind of funny because
you just want
Spock was the one with the goatee.
Yeah, they
and
don't all have them.
And Mirror Spock was like the least evil character in the Mirror universe.
Well, it's using his cold logic for
right.
one goal versus another. He's lost evil, right?
But I mean, like, all the other characters were these psychopaths, and Mirror Spock was like the one who was just based on logic, and then Kirk is able to just talk him into...
Right, because he would survive, whereas the other ones would kill each other, or kill themselves off by being wrecked.
I think he actually appeals to him with an argument, basically, of, hey, think about what the logical conclusion to the Terran Empire is going to be. It's going to eat itself alive, and Spock was like, yes, in such and such amount of time. Kirk basically was like, well, if you took charge, you'd prevent that.
Yeah.
You could reform things. You could save the Empire. And Spock is like, oh, I totally could.
It's a good, fun episode to check out. And many times they try to duplicate it, not quite as well.
Not quite.
So
yeah.
This is a lot of my half-baked speculation. So I'm going to kind of forge ahead, except to say that...
It was before the photos came out.
Yeah, because I was trying to guess at the time, and then another photo comes out. Boom, hard to keep up. Here comes Zavvi.
Yep.
Zavvi,
Yep.
Z-A-V-V-I, or Z.
Zavvi's got a lot of pictures.
Okay, so then they had all these pictures that they were posting. So boom, one after the other, and this is what Amalgamash's video. So that was pretty sweet. And there's 4 of these guys, because we learned on the box there's 4 of them. And then notice these blue elves. These are not placeholders. So we've got the mirror images of the swords, or they're actually called Elven Warriors from Mage of the Mirror, and same with the archers. So there's one of each of these. So it looks to be the exact same figure. And then these big warrior dudes, which I was calling Chaos Warriors. I mean, they look just like an elf version of a Chaos Warrior, except it's in blue. There's 2 of those. And then this weird character that looks to be like dancing and holding a chain with a knife on the end. Some kind of thing. That may be the character that we were thinking was an evil rogue, but I don't know for sure. And then these open and shut case, yeah. Entrance and exit doors appear to be the same as before. There's some new furniture, not very much of it actually. I mean, it looks cool, but the cupboard looks very similar. I don't know if it's identical. I'd have to look at it face to face. This table is new because we didn't have a table before, an elven version of the table. A sorcerer's table, which the Kispa Zargon was speculating that kind of looks like, I wonder if that's the sky orb, that round thing there. Of course, you got this horned skull next to it. There's a statue. Well, we're assuming these are statues, so they're standing on pillars of like a male elf and a female elf, or maybe they serve some other function in the game, but they could be scenery. You can certainly paint them that way. This object guys, I'm gonna ask because I have no clue what this is supposed to be. Is this a tomb? Do you think, or like a portal or a magic mirror? What do you think it is?
So we already got an Elven-style tomb.
That's true.
I think it's
like
something. Personally, I think it's
magic
something
pool?
new. Yeah,
Is that a
because
magic pool?
somebody else pointed out, if you look very carefully, it kind of looks like they've got in the top of it embedded some of the transparent plastic, like is used for the wraith and the specters.
I think that was
some
Amalgamash said that.
Yeah.
water.
So
Kudos.
I
to
wonder.
Amalgamash.
Yeah,
Spoilers
is
for
it
this video.
is it
Yeah.
supposed to be a mirror or a pool of water or something that?
Well, yeah, I mean Galadriel's mirror and Lord of the Rings, which I mean obviously there's a lot of Lord of the Rings inspirations in HeroQuest generally, but that could be a piece of that clear plastic. So it's a magic mirror. That's one option.
Right.
At first, when I
Or
saw
some
this, I thought
kind
maybe
of
it was
summoning pool or something.
Yeah, I thought maybe this was a tile that like slotted into it, but it could be
Or-
plastic.
Yeah, some kind of portal, like Elvyler was saying.
Yeah, magic pool.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to wait till we get a better look at the piece to really
Or-
know for sure. But
Is this where Sir Ragnar's frozen body is preserved? Like, guys, what are you talking about? I've been here the whole time. Like, who's this other Sir Ragnar that you keep talking about? And that's what we're about to discuss. Where's Sir Ragnar in this? We saw that concept art, and he's on the front cover, but where is he?
And they made a big point in their Discord to talk about him.
yep,
Like, he's
So-
super involved here, guys.
Is he gonna be like Zargon, where
Well,
Zargon's
and
not represented at all? He's just in the story
Yeah.
that he's not. Is he just a tile, or is he just nothing?
yeah,
Is he-
Ragnar is
he
also
inside
mentioned
the
by
armor?
name in the description, right on the website.
Yep.
On Hasbro's description of the quest pack. It
Look
says
at that.
you're
Well-
gonna be fighting Sir Ragnar.
And it can be such a cop out because in the original game, guess who Sir Ragnar was? There was no Sir Ragnar figure. It was the Chaos Warlock. And no, that wasn't a clue that he was evil. It was just the fact because they didn't.
Yeah,
they didn't-
that
they
was the
didn't make it-
placeholder.
He was made
figure.
a traitor in Return of the Witch Lord European version, which was released the same year. So you could say, well, maybe they planned it all along. Maybe they did. But yeah, you could say, oh yeah, the cultist is him, or the knight is him, or the Chaos Warrior is him inside. But I'd rather see a figure. I mean, that's what I was hoping for. Because
I mean, I don't. Yeah,
like
I don't think you
the
would
whole,
though.
like,
You
mythic restoration thing. It's like all the people who didn't get the mythic tier can get a different version of the character because they even implied it or teased
Yep.
it or hinted. It's like, well, this version of this character in the HasLab campaign will not be available elsewhere. So it's
I
like,
think
oh,
that-
Yeah.
another version.
personally, I think that was just
Hype.
kind of lazy wording. I just don't
It
think
wasn't
the
a
intent.
promise. It wasn't a guarantee. Well, yeah, it's not a.
I also don't think it was trying to send any special messages that they would make another. I think it was
A
just
lot of-
literally
a lot
none of these
people did.
none of these figures will be available again. I think that's all it was trying to say.
Yeah, and they
You know.
I wish they just said that. I mean,
Okay.
I wish. Yeah. Go ahead.
Does it dovetail into what's in that center? In the center of the frame there, what is that swirling vortex thinger?
Well, if we look at
I
the
think this
if we
Wraith
look at the
is-
art,
I think the
yeah.
Wraith is Sinestra.
If
Or
you look at the
even
box
version
art,
of
right?
Sinestra. Yeah.
Okay, this is not like Ragnar turned into some
Oh,
swirly
yeah, he-
creature thing.
I
He-
don't think so.
He's turned into Lomagra, the blood god.
Yeah, Kurgan, go back to the front cover of the box, right?
I'll have to grab it on here.
Right. So if you look on the left side of the box, there's that, that thing right under the H. That I suspect is what that model is going to look like.
It's called the
okay.
Dread Wraith, but think about it. In Mage of the Mirror, what is Sinestra's figure called? Elven Archmage. So this could
Yep.
be a Dread. So she's come back as a Dread Wraith, I guess. On the other hand, maybe this is not Sinestra. Maybe the Dread Wraith is the Cloud, and she's just one of the souls that's trapped inside.
Maybe the Dread Wraith possessed Sinestra or something, and she wasn't actually evil. I don't know. There's a lot of ways they could go with it.
Or she gave herself to the power. Now I see this crackling electricity, and then Sir Ragnar's right here. So is he like manifested out of it? Like he's one of the souls that's being controlled, or is he just he's just leading the charge? He's just part of the
We don't know.
effort.
Yeah, I'm just gonna speculate. It is.
There's our cultist. See, I thought,
Rog-
this.
He's not in this at all. Like he's kind of behind the scenes
You get
until
there
the
and
next one.
like Skullmar, like
I mean,
Ultimate Escape, and it'll be part 3. They'll make it into a trilogy, and the next set. I mean,
I feel like it would be uncharacteristically deceptive of Avalon Hill to have marketed it as much as they did on that sort of lore tie-in, and then to not have him show up or do anything other than be mentioned in the background. That just wouldn't feel like they had played it straight with us.
Here's another possibility: are they deceptively marketing what's in the contents of the box?
Like that
is
box
he
art
actually in there?
Like the box is actually keeping Ragnar's
They're not
secret.
showing all the models in there.
Well,
Maybe he is in there. I don't know.
Here's the thing though with that whole theory, because I consider that as well. What if you open the inner box and there he is? Because a lot of people are not going to be like us, just sitting here waiting for it to be released. Like, okay, you kept the surprise from us, but what the average person who's like, Avalon Hill Games, I wonder which one I should buy. Okay, it says it has 39 miniatures or whatever, and Sir Ragnar. Okay, but where's he? Just put him on the box.
39, an odd number. No, it doesn't mean anything.
40. Yeah. Well, so maybe the art isn't final, but I kind of have a feeling he's not in there, and they're gonna get some hate for this. Just saying.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
for now I find it confusing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it sinks the whole thing, but I was really expecting and hoping that they're remedying the whole Guardian Knight thing. A lot of people were disappointed that they couldn't get the Guardian Knight because he was an exclusive, limited time figure, sold out in one day, and it's still being scalped online. So they fixed that, and then they were gonna fix Sir Ragnar because a lot of people wanted him from the Mythic tier, couldn't get him, and it's like, it's a different and actually cooler design, but no, he's not there. So it feels like a tease. It really does. Even though you could say, yes, there's tons of characters in HeroQuest who are not represented by a unique figure. That's absolutely positively true. And you can always use your imagination, but yeah. Thinking, why do this?
I don't want to.
Right. Or I'll do it, but
yeah, why does the tribal elder of the barbarians have a chaos helmet and a skull for a face?
Called imagination.
Yep.
Alright. So the Dread cultists were real. I kind of thought, maybe it'd just be a background character. Maybe it wouldn't really be an actual figure. But I noticed
because there's sometimes some of the HeroQuest art has depicted things that didn't appear in any of the boxes.
Yeah, orcs with different helmets on, creatures crawling out of the sewers or whatever.
Some kind of crazy beasts on the Witchlord, the original Witchlord art that never showed up.
Okay, so other people have shown these images, obviously. So I'm not claiming to be the first one. We're clearly not, but just giving our takes on it. And let's see. So I saw these tiles and I was trying to guess what each one was, and it's like, dude, just go to the next picture. Like, you get a much better view. But this apparently is the Realm of Reflection. This thing.
There's nothing about it to me that screams.
It's a park. It's a garden. It's a little area of like a shrubbery. It's
It looks right. It just looks like an outdoory.
We got those
tile
door bases again. So slowly we're gonna get those 7 missing doors from Frozen Horror.
Right. I do have to say I'm not sorry to be getting mirrors, because I personally was making more use out of them than, like I said, I expanded some elements of that quest pack a little bit, and
it's funny because
it'll actually make. It might avoid some confusion for my players when and if they get there, if I have some additional mirror art to use, so that I'm not reusing something, having it be like, wait, what's the princess doing here?
I'm the opposite of you. I'm so arrogant that I would take a new thing like this and I would mod it to fit my homebrew versus the other way around. But whatever you want to do. I was thinking these were bones, but they're clearly not. Up close.
They're like masquerade masks.
And I was, I was trying to speculate on what all these tiles are, but there's lots of tiles, and there's appear to be token tiles, so they're not just your standard little squares or rectangles. They're actual.
Now look at the pool thing. that we were talking about earlier
Oh,
there
yeah.
in this
Yeah,
graphic.
Yeah,
can-
you can
you can
Look how much
definitely
extra
see.
there is.
You can definitely see that appears to
Okay.
be two different kinds of plastic that have been.
It's not just a tile that's sitting on.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yep. it's got 3 dimensions.
Good call, guys. Okay, and here's cards, mercenaries. So that striker figure is right on the cover. I keep saying striker because later you find out. And I was trying to count them and guess which was which, based on the edges. Well, there's the knight card. We've already seen that. But yeah, it's like, what are these throwing stars? But yeah,
Caltrops.
caltrops. Yeah.
I picked them out immediately, even before I saw the from that picture. I was like, oh, those are caltrops.
Amalgamash is released. HeroQuest Rise of the Dream, crafting, reagents, alchemy, no Ragnar, WTF, AH, new gear. We're not going to watch it at the moment, but please go check him out. Rate, comment, subscribe, leave a note, ring the bell for notifications, hit him up on Patreon, whatever he wants you to do. Just do it without question. I'm kidding. He's a good guy, so yeah. We don't always agree. We don't often agree, but we often agree. And then he also did the Dreadmoon Rises, HeroQuest Rise of the Dreadmoon expansion, available for pre-order now. So,
Yeah, that was based on just the earlier photos.
oh yeah,
just
this was the first
Like
one.
and
it was
subscribe.
before a lot of the detail was out.
Brave Adventure.
Now the caltrops kind of give me Gloomhaven vibes. I don't know if anyone's played Gloomhaven before.
Caltrops are a real thing from history, right? But they were so
Yes,
expensive that
absolutely.
You throw them on the
But
ground so your people's horses get messed up.
There are
It-
classes in Gloomhaven where that's like the thing you do with that class is like you set traps, you set bombs and stuff, and have the enemies crawl over
Oh,
them.
yeah.
So it's very interesting that they decided to add that to.
For
Here.
old school bad dudes versus Dragon Ninja. The ninjas would throw their shurikens on the ground, and you're like, oh, I'll just pick it up, and you're like, you get hurt because you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, that's silly. I wanted to use it as a weapon. Berg says, I'm going to double down on past speculation that the now named Dread Wraith creates and spawns specters. It's literally straight of the D&D ability for Wraiths is to create specters. Well, they do own Dungeons & Dragons, so who's to say they can't borrow stuff? I was thinking of
little mixture there.
I was thinking of the pain elementals in Doom 2, I should say, where they shoot out the flaming skulls, the lost souls. Like, so there's a big monster spawns, but if there's only 3 of them, well, okay, it's not.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
the creating, that was what I was about to say, is with
Oh,
only
but
3 Spectre miniatures.
On the other hand, it creates 3 of them, and they just hover around. As you kill one, it replaces them until you kill the big monster, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, if that's what they're doing.
I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility, but I think
Hey.
it would probably surprise me if they went that direction.
The great thing about all this speculation is all the stuff we're wrong about could make a fun, fan mod. Fun
I mean,
mod.
yeah, I don't think a monster that's kind of spawns other monsters has really been done in any official material.
Destroy generators to stop.
I mean, I guess that's not completely true. The European version, a couple things had that kind of as like the replacement because they didn't have evil monster spells. So like,
Yeah.
I think the original Witch
there is
Lord would just like conjure up an undead monster every turn or something,
I think there's a Keller's Keep quest.
where someone just summons something every turn or
Well,
something.
it's not a summoning. It's just the monsters just keep pouring out of the doorway. Like every turn, there's a few more monsters. And they're
That
just
yes,
clogged
that's
up
the
with-
right. That's the one where there's just like it's like a war party's been sent out after you,
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
turns out to be
Like-
every monster in Zargon's box.
And if you think of Warhammer, it's like there's never going to be able to kill them all. So you got to do something else.
That's one of those great immortal, like the game just doesn't really give you any guidelines of.
A lot of people
Says
hate-
you can use any monster. Does that mean monsters from other expansions that didn't exist at the time that Keller's Keep came out? Like,
got guys
can you
that-
send polar warbears through the door after them? You know,
I
like,
got runners that are going to the store and bringing back more miniatures as we speak.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Going on and on and on. Okay. Yeah. So I actually quoted something. Well, you know what? I'll just skip my commentary and just go to the pictures. Okay. So here's the back of the box. The supposed official back of the box. Do we see a big gap somewhere where Sir Ragnar's figure would go?
Not really.
Slapped him right
Not.
here, maybe, or
But if it's Sir Ragnar, if he's you'd want to feature him centrally. I would think you wouldn't want to bury him off on the right side of the
you
box.
wouldn't have to put him there because he's already there.
Maybe they're just kind of counting on like the mercenary cards, the
Unless there's a-
crafting stuff
False
to kind
bottom.
of.
There's a false bottom in this
Yeah.
watery tomb, and he pops out.
That's
the-
got to be what it is.
The problem is like the base, unless that's really big. The base, the round base, because if you try to, I always thought, okay, you take the lid off the tomb and you hide a mummy inside. That was nice.
Yeah,
But
the
it doesn't
base is
work.
too big.
The base is too big, right?
Yep.
But they could have
Um,
molded the plastic such that it slides right in there, if they wanted to.
I mean, I think that's a long shot.
It is a long shot, and I'm just really wishing that he was in the box.
I mean, I would say, frankly, if it is some kind of secret that they're not giving away for some reason, I honestly, I just don't
Well,
understand what
bad,
what would the point be.
the bad.
I think it's
version-
more likely that it's just a different version of the art, and that like the Spectre and the Cultist would be shifted a little bit or something to make room for him.
The bad version of this would be, well, due to popular demand, for a limited time, Sir
Yeah,
Ragnar
yeah.
will be offered through GameStop and other retailers, and then he sells.
I
but they
Don't
No,
think they're
after
gonna do
the
that.
apology, they did the apology and they said, "Look, we're not going to do this. The scalpers are going to be mad at us, and that's how it should be." And I was like, "Yes."
No.
You know, we've all seen what happens when a company like runs afoul of its intended fan base. So, yeah.
So the
They're
thing,
smarter
the
than that, I'm sure.
yeah, that would be colossally stupid.
I mean, companies do stuff against their self-interest all the time. But
Yeah.
I feel like Avalon Hill has learned from their mistakes, and they wouldn't do that.
At least not yet.
Not yet. Hopefully not. Okay, the chilling night of the Dread Moon is approaching. Cold, metallic moonlight casts an eerie glow over Elathorn in this HeroQuest expansion that continues the dramatic story of treachery and civil unrest within the Elven Kingdom. At a time when Elathorn should be enjoying peace following the safe return of Princess Melandriel, Zargon, fiendish agents run amok, led by the traitorous Sir Ragnar. So there it is. Playing as one of HeroQuest's brave heroes. 1. You must seek the aid of the Cadre of the Raven's Veil. Oh, so yeah, the speculation we were talking about in the other stream was perfectly, or the other video was perfectly true. The Raven's Veil and finally free Elathorn from Zargon's vile clutches. Okay, so there's probably quests where you find each of the members. Either rescue them or bribe
Oh, you
them
might
or
not.
meet
You
up
might
with
not
them.
be able to just hire them straight away.
Yeah, you probably have to earn their trust or something. Or
Maybe,
them in
that'd be
combat or, yeah.
Yeah, and that would actually that would be kind of a neat way to not just have
Right.
heroes jumping straight to hiring a ton of mercenaries right off the bat or something.
Yeah, originally I was thinking, oh, there's probably more than one of each of those figures, and so similar to like the henchmen in Frozen Horror, like
Right,
sometimes they'll be
you
good
get,
guys,
like,
sometimes
12
they'll
of
be
'em.
bad guys.
Yeah,
But this makes off Steve Talor, like when I was first hearing about Stephen Baker's Quest, which is also coming to retail later. I thought, gee, this is going to be really boring because we've already been here. But in reality, he made it incredibly interesting. So just because they're retreading similar territory doesn't mean that they're going to pull a Star Wars and just like remake it with just different names and different colors. Like it's actually probably going to be something different, which is the right thing to do. So it'll feel like it ties in, but be unique. Be wary, heroes, for Zargon forces grow ever stronger with the rise of the Dread Moon. So if you're playing the classic conversion that we plan to do, it'll be the Chaos Moon, right? Yeah, think about it. Okay, so they don't have any numbers next to these elf characters, so we're assuming one of each. 2, oh, there are 2 of this chain-wielding...
no, I think
elf
we've
symbol.
seen. I mean, I don't know why they show 2 figures for the.
Unless you assume that all these are duplicates, but
I think
it
it's
doesn't
two.
seem to be.
It's two of the bowmen, 2 of the
Yeah.
swordsmen.
Yeah,
Two of the chain
they're
people and
they're
2 of the-
mirrors of each other. There's a male version, a female version. One's
Right,
left-handed, one's
right.
right-handed. It's a mirror. Even though the original version from '92. It
Oh, I see. It's it's the same. Are they the same exact poses as Mage of the Mirror?
I mean, you can check, but from these
Let me pull out my
not
box. I'm not sure.
perfectly sharp pictures, they look pretty darn close. The light blue plastic.
Honestly, yes, they look identical. I'm looking at them.
Okay, which is fine because if you have both of them, you're gonna have more. And
At least for the swordsman and the bowman.
Hispazar,
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah, they look pretty much the
A lot of
same.
people are expressing disappointment, like, oh, it's just duplicates. But I mean, they made
Yeah.
those expensive molds. They're gonna reuse them. I mean, Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord gave you more of the same. And the thing is, they can't assume that you own Mage
Right.
Mirror. All this, well, you got to play them in the canonical order. Forget that. I mean, not everybody can afford that. Not everybody wants to. So you may play this first,
Right.
for all we know. I mean, you play the game system, you play this.
But the chain character and the heavier armored knight, those are new.
the big guy. Yeah, the big guy,
Yeah.
which I think he looks pretty cool. I mean, he
Considering how beefy the Elven Swordsman stat profile already was, I wonder what the heck the Armored Knight's
Yeah,
gonna be like.
No. And then we've got, of course, the Chaos Warlock. We've got the Spectre. We've already seen a million times. The Wraith
I think it's
doesn't have a number. You can't make. I can't make out Sinestra's face in here. It just looks like a big blob of like melted hot glue to me. But I'm sure better photos will come out. I mean, they changed the release date for the U.S. to July 17th instead of 15th. Okay, 2 days. I mean, for all we know, people are going to get it even before that potentially. Like happened in the
Yeah, it
past.
depends on if they've tightened up their
Release schedule.
shipping processes, or
And what was
you
it
know.
saying for Europe? Was it saying July 31st? Or I thought there was some explicit date they gave, and it was like a later date.
Yeah.
That's probably subject to change as well.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I think it, well, it's great to get it early if you're one of the lucky ones. There were a lot of people who were feeling very left out because they didn't happen to pre-ordered it from the right place, or they weren't part of one of the initial shipping waves from wherever they did order it from, and they wound up getting theirs way after most other people already had them and stuff like that. And
Okay.
I feel like that's not great if you're Avalon Hill. You don't want people disappointed because it shipped early
Okay.
but only to some people.
Yeah. Well, they don't care which retailer you buy it from. They get paid no matter what. But yeah,
But they might
they
be
still
leaning a little harder to say, hey,
Well-
stop shipping these things out early.
Anybody that's worked at like a game store like GameStop, I mean, they'll tell you like they get in big trouble if they release something before they're supposed to. But the question is, like, if one retailer does it, that pretty much just opens the floodgates. Anybody can do it after that. 'Cause
Yeah.
what are they gonna do?
But I mean, in the
this is
past,
accurate.
it sounds like they just weren't. It was just a free for all though, because people were ordering from all kinds of different retailers, and they were all getting them early, but it was like slightly different times, and it was like
because I am committed to not being the first guy to do all this. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody else, listen, Amalgam Ash is gonna get 4 copies, and he's gonna get it a month ahead of me, and he's gonna give 2 of them away in contests, which are gonna be awesome, and he's gonna paint one and then play the other. That's awesome. Good for him. For me, I'm gonna order it whenever it comes. I'm gonna get it. So if I get it after other people will do their reviews, I'll do my review. It's cool. We'll play it when we play it. I mean, we're just barely on HeroQuest fans on Twitch.tv, which check us out. We're going to be not streaming this weekend because of the holiday, but next weekend we'll be back to it. So it's taken us months and months and months. It's taken us almost a year to finish Frozen Horror. Do you think we're going to be able to quickly get Mage of the Mirror done? And then I'm thinking I'll probably just jump right into this. I mean, assuming the release schedule works out. But anyway, I just changed the country code to the UK, and it says July 15th. So £44.99. And what if we change it to some other country here? They may update this. Okay, Europe itself. Okay, so this says 44.99 euros. So German, Spanish, French, Italian.
17th.
17th, yep.
Hold
Hong
on.
Kong.
It said there was new Dread Moon spells. Is that what I heard?
Yeah. But
Honestly,
we've only seen Dread
I
spells.
think it's a typo.
Yeah.
Dread Moon spells? Because maybe it's
The orc
cultist
bends over and drops
thinking?
his pants. Oh, dreadful.
Oh no.
Yep.
Is it the cultist characters maybe use the Dread Moon spells?
Oh, it's a 404. So Hong Kong's page isn't updated yet.
Oh no. Can you read Japanese?
Chinese.
Or Chinese?
I'm sure it's a very international city. There's probably some people there. Oh, that one's not updated either. Malaysia, come on, guys, get on it.
Right.
Singapore.
Malaysia. What are you doing with your Hero Quest? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I hope all the countries that originally had Hero Quest get it, just like all the other releases. But this is the new one, so there's no nostalgia goggles protecting this one. I mean, yeah, it's got a couple Mage of the Mirror things, but you can say, hey, I've already got Mage of the Mirror. What do you got for me? Impress me.
I mean, I think a lot. I think a lot is gonna hinge on how well these new mechanics, new monsters, new quests seem. You know, how well do they integrate? How fun are they? You know.
Yeah. I was really kind of surprised because when I saw that Doug Hopkins blog entry, I mean, well, on the other hand, they kind of did the same thing with the Hasbro Pulse. It's like, oh, here's a playtest. Isn't this cool? And you're thinking, oh, there's going to be more of this, right? And then they kind of just shut it down. Well, I should say they did it with the furniture. Like, oh, we're going to have painted furniture, and you think it's going to be more, and it's just one entry, and that was it. But with Doug Hopkins, he did, okay, here's the Spectre, here's the Alchemy potions, which we now know it's officially called Alchemy, which I think is awesome. I love Alchemy stuff. I did a whole mod on it. And yes, Alchemy was always part of Hero Quest. You had the Alchemist bench, for crying out loud. You had the
the High Alchemist was a villain character in one of the quests.
He was high if he thought he could beat us. Yep. But yeah. And skill cards and everything. Okay, so see, it clearly says Dread Spell.
Yeah, it's the same Dread Spell template on the card, so I think it's just a
change there.
I think the website just again has some careless
flair for.
It's a little bit of careless copy, unfortunately. They got a.
Here we go. So clearly we've got Alchemy. Looks great. Looks awesome. I mean, it looks kind of generic, but Hero Quest is kind of that way. There's no equivalent.
The images are
Potions deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been using. I mean, a lot of fans have been using a Potions deck, so I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's not like no one else could have thought of that. Obviously, like, oh, you have a deck of potions, right? And here we've got an example. So same artwork, Heroic Brew. This little flavor text was added. Fortify your fighting spirit, brave hero. Drink this potion before you attack to make 2 weapon attacks instead of 1. Crafted. So it's a craft brew, guys. Get it? That's sweet.
Right, so it's not found or purchased.
You gotta make it. Yep, it's like 8 months later. Man, I'm gonna kick your butt in 8 months. Or however long it takes to...
It seems like the reference for what you can make from what comes from the treasure card.
Ah, okay, let's zoom over there then.
Yeah.
Because I know in some games it's like they just say, oh, you find item A and you combine it with item B to make item C.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no table or anything. It looks like it's right off of the treasure card.
Okay, so this treasure example, this only shows, well, I guess we're assuming there's 4 cards, because there's the one that's flipped over that you can't see, and then the 3 that are stacked. So Mysterious Flower. You uncover a rare and lovely elven plant that you know to be edible. So it's the thing from Beauty and the Beast. Consume at any time to restore 1 lost body point. Do not return this card.
So it's basically
quests.
Yeah, so it's a very weak healing potion.
Or you can use it as a reagent to craft 1x potion of dexterity or 1x potion of defense. So It's like, what do you need more? Well, I'm about to die. I'm just going to eat it. Oh, well, maybe I'll save it up so I can... Assuming this is the same dexterity that's 5 squares or 1 automatic pit jump, or 2 combat dice defense for 1. Yeah, defense. You might need it more. Okay.
So we've got the base of a very
identical Elven Archer. Yeah, these
a very basic crafting system.
Yeah, which is fine because I mean, simplicity.
Hero Quest is not an overly complex game.
Even though it's 14 plus,
exactly.
The original game was designed for 9 and 10-year-olds primarily, and they're awesome parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so
and
Night Skill,
45-year-old men.
Yeah. I like Amalgamash is it's like for 41 plus. That's what he really is for. That was his joke. That was awesome. Well played, sir.
Oh, so I actually can't start playing for another year. Shoot.
Youngin. Okay, yep. You're the kid that snuck into the R-rated movie.
Kids these days, am I right?
Yep.
I mean, I'm old enough to remember the time kind of before the crackdown when they'd just sell you they'd sell a 13-year-old a ticket to an R-rated movie without asking too many questions.
Give them a centimeter, and they take a kilometer. Yeah. Okay. So the knight skills looks identical. We've seen this artwork before. Requires shields, shield blocks. So
I don't know if we haven't seen the artwork. We've seen the cards and the text.
The art's new, yeah.
There were some pictures of the new artwork, but
right. Yes, we've seen. Right. I thought you were saying it's not the same artwork as the original Guardian Knight.
Wait a minute. Is this literal? Because there's 3 cards here and there's a 4th card. Does he get a new
No, I think they're just. I don't think that there's a new skill. I don't think the flipped over thing. I think they're just showing the categories and showing some.
So this might not be exact. Well, I guess in the.
Yeah, I don't think these are. I don't think you can assume that the numbers are all going to match up with the piles here.
It's a mistake there.
Okay, so equipment. So for 100 gold coins, you get caltrops. Use any time on your turn. No action required. Hey, it's free. Place a caltrops tile. Oh, that's what those ones we saw. On any one square you move through. If a creature moves onto a caltrops tile, they roll 1 combat die. If it lands on a white shield, they may continue their movement. I feel like this is Gollum saying this. Is it tasty? Is it delicious? On any other, that didn't sound anything like the Andy Serkis version. Okay, on any other roll result, their movement ends. Remove the tile from the board. The creature ends their turn on it. You're trying to be so correct. Okay, once used, the caltrops are lost. Okay, so it's a bunch of caltrops, but for 100 gold, you get 1 tile.
That's what it sounds like.
So it's fairly expensive.
And I kind of get it, I think, right? Like,
it ends their
they're trying to add more gold sinks because it has started to become a complaint that, like, people are like, my heroes get, get so decked out, and then it's like, what do they spend, they spend their gold on.
You can imagine, like, a later on rogue that's got a lot of gold, and you got a few caltrops, and you're moving through monsters.
And dropping caltrops around.
Over the place.
When I was a kid, I was thinking, like, what I really want is someone who can make traps. But there was no, like, I couldn't think of a practical mechanism. And this is kind of a cool way to do it. So if you can stop monsters dead in their tracks, I mean, is it as powerful as Tempest? Or...
I mean, no, but...
They can see the caltrop there. Right? So
it
could just be like, oh, okay, if I go here, it's gonna stop me, so I should go around. So you're still, like, interfering with the monster's ability to.
And if you drop it in a corridor, and it's like, well, if the monster wants to try to attack you, they have no choice.
Right. Yeah. Or if you're far away,
you could use it to try and discourage them from going at, if you're trying to protect the wizard or something, it's like, oh, I'll drop a caltrop, and it's like, yeah, you can get to the wizard but you might not even reach them. You might have to stop your move. And then on the wizard's turn, they're going to blast you with some spell,
Yeah. So they can try it. There's a chance they can pass it. So it's kind of interesting. So it's not an automatic.
It's also, it becomes a strategic thing, though. It's like, if you move the monster onto the square, you can get rid of the caltrop tile.
Right. Yeah, send the goblin.
So it creates some strategic complexity for Zargon, where it's like, hey, I'm going to use the goblin. I'm going to use the goblin to clear the caltrop.
Oh man, I know some Zargons are going to have their monsters rolling to jump, like because they normally they jump traps. Like, can we jump over it? Well, I'm Zargon.
But see, they jump traps that are supposed to benefit the evildoers. This is something placed by the good guys. But what I was gonna say though is it's like, if you have multiple monsters available,
now that
you can use the weak monster to get rid of the caltrop so that the stronger monster doesn't have to risk losing their move.
My bad. I'm like a little kid in a candy store. I'm reading this. It says a creature. So a creature, any character. So it doesn't.
They include heroes and mercs. Yeah.
So they're going to be affected too. So it's an equal opportunity. It's like, why did you throw all those caltrops there? Come on. Okay, Spell. We've seen this one already.
The US version of the game finally supports PvP.
There we go. Deathmatch.
You can throw caltrops in front of your buddies so that they can't reach the next room to search it for treasure.
And people who wonder how that deathmatching mechanic in our player versus player in European version would have worked. I would have just assumed everybody rolls a red die, highest goes first, and then second, third, fourth. But yeah, that's just a training thing. Okay, so Channel Dread, we've already seen that. That's a spell that we know the Spectres have. And Carmine.
Seems like there's going to be at least a few other dread spells here.
Yeah, those I've already forgotten their name. Dread Cultists. Those might be like low-level guys that just have one spell or two, or they could be bosses.
Yeah, there's
Like
probably going to
cards.
be at least one or two kind of,
And
generic use the chaos or the dread sorcerer to represent this guy kind of spellcaster bosses in there, I would imagine.
yeah, and just because there's only 3 cards here doesn't mean they can't use the other dread spells from the
Of course.
game system. So don't forget about that.
I wonder if we're ever going to see conditional use of stuff from other expansions.
Well, we already have.
Right,
in the
'cause it-
sense that, yeah.
Well,
Fate of
conditional.
Terror Remake says if you have.
If you have mercenaries from another quest
you can
pack,
use
right?
Them, you can use them.
Yep,
in the
yep.
group. Or hey, if you 3 of these potions only work for the elf. If you want more, you can use the alchemist shops from other
Yep.
quest packs you own.
I guess I meant more explicitly in things like
Or
like I don't
in the
think
world,
we've ever seen
the
a
fact
dread.
that everybody has digital downloads. Everybody
Yeah.
has them. In a sense.
Right.
But
But I mean, like something like giving because the quest notes always tell Zargon what spells a given spellcaster knows.
yeah.
I wonder if we're ever going to see something like, this guy knows the Mind Freeze spell if you have, Frozen Horror, and otherwise give them command or something, like something like
mixed
that.
feelings about that because on the one hand it's like that's a really cool way to integrate everything. On the other hand, it's like ooh greedy because you're pressuring people into buy everything.
Yeah, that's sort of like where I'm at. Is it's like,
Because I have everything, but not everybody does. Not every 10-year-old
Yeah.
kid is gonna be that lucky or whatever.
I do think there's an element of, when you say, hey, they can't make stuff assuming that you own everything. I mean, I think we've talked about this before, that it does feel like there's been a culture shift over time, though, where there is more of an expectation that consumers, someone who chooses to get into a particular brand usually ends up buying everything. Like they buy the complete collection or whatever. They don't just stop at the one.
When they made the Matrix sequels, you were supposed to read the comic, the novel, play the video game, and then you
watch the anime.
and watch the anime, and you were going to understand all the backstory that they didn't have time to explain in the movie, so that you could focus on other things. And it's like, okay, that I guess it's a marketing deal. It works okay, but I mean, it just gets silly. It's like George Lucas saying, okay, now you got to watch episode 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6. And it's like, okay, for 30 years, no one could do that. So we just didn't understand the story the right way.
And he did the same thing in The Matrix. He was like, you got to watch episode 1, and then before you got to watch episode 2, you've got to go watch the cartoon.
Yeah.
And read a novel or two, because there's going to be these new characters that are just going to show up with no explanation and no introduction.
Only a very small segment of the fan base is going to fall for that.
Right.
And I think whatever media that you got in front of you should stand on its own. I mean, yes, it's a piece in a series, but it's got to have something. Even if it's just like the cheesy old, well, last time on Star Trek The Next Generation. Quick montage. Okay, get into it. little opening crawl explaining. I mean, that's what the opening crawl was supposed to be in Star Wars. Anyway.
Well, the opening crawl was a throwback to like Flash Gordon serials and stuff.
Yep. Radar Men from the Moon. Okay. So the Raven's Talon. This is an artifact. The eyes of the Raven glitter dangerously as you wield the blade. Weapon. When using this dagger, roll the dagger. Wizard can use it. 2 attack dice. On your turn,
Rogue?
you may
I think
roll.
the thing that occurred to me even more significantly than the wizard is that the rogue can use it.
Yep. On your turn, you may re-roll any 1 attack die that lands on a black shield. Okay, so it's more likely to hit.
Because that, to me, says now your rogue is trucking with 4 attack dice and 5 if they've got the sneak attack thing active.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you attack with a short sword or a dagger, you can use a dagger to make another attack. Well, this is a dagger.
Yep. That'll be Zargon's call.
So it's
It's not
like,
saying,
well,
well,
it's
it's
short
not
sword in one hand, dagger in the this dagger in the other. That's
Yeah.
4 attack dice.
Right. Well, it was that whole thing with the rogue, because the rogue is a standalone piece, add-on.
Yep.
Or, I said the opposite. It's an add-on. So if you're not using it, it doesn't make any sense. If it does, you'd be like, well, why can't I? I'd say I can't.
I mean, I don't think the intention would have been that they couldn't. Like,
They
if they
can't
didn't
account
want
for
the thing to...
everything.
Yeah,
Well-
if they didn't want it to be a dagger, they wouldn't have made it a dagger.
Like, when I played my game, I mean, I was going with the original intention in the draft notes for Frozen Horror, which is to say, when you do a multi-attack, it's supposed to be one big dice roll,
Yeah, yeah.
and the defender defends once at the end.
Well, I think but it also gives you the flexibility to attack different targets, right? It's like,
Yes, it
yeah,
does.
if you're attacking the
Different
same
targets.
person, you just pool them, but if
Yeah. But
you have the ability to split it, like
Since-
attack one,
since
attack
Avalon
the other.
Hill, exactly, yeah. Since Avalon Hill created the rogue with the other system in mind, whereas the second attack is just unblockable, or the one they don't
Yep.
defend against is unblockable. You do them individually. With that in mind, the rogue is a lot weaker if you don't do that. So I just said,
Mhm.
okay, fine for him and for him alone. He has the
Yeah.
perk. Everybody else
I think
does it the other
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mean
Now,
he
what if-
rolls
what if-
4
What
at
if the
once. I
rogue-
just meant, like,
What if the
he
rogue
goes from 3 to 4 total.
Yeah, what if the rogue drinks heroic brew? Well, then what do you do? Like, okay, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
That's sort of a... That's
Like, okay,
really
fine.
a Zargon call thing,
They'll do
because
the
it's
combined
like...
thing. Yeah.
Because 2, what does it mean to say 2 instead of 1 if you already have 2, right? Like,
3. Yeah. Yeah, there's a
well, no,
minimal
it's
way
it's
or maximal way.
right. You could say, well,
It takes whatever you've
it's
got
2
and it
instead of
resets
1,
it-
but
it resets
you already
it.
had 2, so
Well, yeah, kind of like saying plate armor reduces you to 1
movement die.
movement die. Well, what if you've got extra ones? So it's like, what order do you do it? You add and then
Yeah.
you subtract. Or, yeah.
Yeah.
The peop-
I would
people
probably tend
overanalyze
to
it.
interpret it as you get to make a third attack,
If you're
but
playing with a group of kids, they just spit something out, and it's like, that's what it is. Whether it makes sense or not, everybody goes with that, and that's the game. Adults, they argue for, months, years on forums fighting about it. It's like, but yeah, when it's your table, you just got to make a decision.
Mhm.
So there's the Mercenary Striker. I don't know, this artwork, I mean, I'm not saying I could do better, but it almost just looks kind of cheesy like that. Like it's just copy paste. I'm not saying they had to do a completely different image, but okay, just I guess.
And I guess the question also is, is the back of each mercenary card the same as the art on the front, or is it just the striker is the sort of the mercenary
one
card
you're
image?
like, yes, I got the striker. You flip it over. Oh, it's a scout. Dang it.
Yeah, right.
Or this is the one you want. I mean, I guess they could have done artwork of like all 4 of them, but then you'd think, oh, I get 4 mercenaries. No, it was just 1. Because the mercenaries from Wizards of Morcar were that way. It showed them all like partying on the front, and then you flip it over.
Oh, right. Yeah, it would just be a specific.
Mercenaries. Yeah, just
Yep.
it's like
yep.
saying, oh, here's a generic mercenary. But they could do like a shadow, but then that isn't as artistic. So yeah, decisions have to be made. So they decided to do the exact same art. For better or for worse, there it is. Well, and the cool thing is we can imagine that eventually these will make their way into the companion app, and you can like look at it with maybe some of these layers removed and see like the actual artwork.
Yeah,
If you
potentially.
appreciate that, yeah. And
Yeah,
monster cards. Yeah, so we know that these are not good guys. These are bad guys. But as before, in previous quests, I mean, quest packs, the mercenaries were also treated as monsters. Although here they've separated them out. It looks like it's only the Cadre of the Ravensvale that are in this list. I don't
Yep.
see any men-at-arms.
Nope.
So, yeah.
But it might. Yeah, I think it may just be that they decided to go with a distinction because they are giving more of a story role to the
100 gold
cadre,
coins. Yeah, so
right?
100 gold
So
coins. Like, we fight
Yeah.
for honor in the Elven Kingdom, and 100 gold coins would sure be nice.
right,
Help
right,
out.
but yeah, but basically saying that they're
T-shirt.
only hireable by heroes because these are explicitly supposed to be, good guys. They're not going to ever
But-
show up as monsters in a quest unless they're like
Yeah.
under mind control or something.
Yeah, and for all we know, there's a perk or benefit. Maybe if you skip the quests where you go find them, maybe they cost more to hire.
Yeah,
Like
we'll have to
that.
wait and see.
They give you a discount for surviving a quest. There's all kinds of ways they could do it to kind of make it interesting.
Yeah.
Because why would they?
I mean,
just say, well, you
I
can
don't know.
hire
The other
them, or-
the other thing I wonder though, right, is this also now, like you said, right? They've been pretty sparing with the things in one quest referencing a thing in another, but the way that they wrote Mage of the Mirror, they didn't say if you have the mercenaries from Frozen Horror, they said if you have mercenaries from another quest pack.
Yeah.
This is now another quest pack that can make
Right.
mercenaries available, so
So these cadre
They could-
guys are going to go fight before you met them. Like, oh, yeah.
potentially, yeah. So it
So
could just be a
I
thing
never-
of, like...
I didn't catch your name. I didn't give it. Like, oh, okay. Who was that masked man? Time traveling from the future. So anyway, yeah, endless speculation about these. Other people have probably said all the things that we said. Potion crafting, blah blah blah. Interesting. Yeah, and
The thing I'm curious about is whether the potion crafting will require, like, that the heroes locate a room with an alchemy bench, for instance.
or is it just an automatic feature of just like, oh, I've got the card.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bet it'll be a reaction type thing.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I've got the card. I can either drink it and get 1 body point back. I can turn it into a dexterity, or I can turn it into a whatever the other one was.
Fence. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
feels like... That
how-
feels too easy. I wonder if it's going to
Well,
require multiple reagents.
I mean, the way that the way that I treat these is, yeah, you go to the alchemist bench, you search for treasure, you draw a card from the deck. That's how
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do it. But for all we know, it's going to be just, oh, here's the quest note, draw from the deck, or get this card.
I don't even... They're
from the deck.
treasure cards, which means they're being mixed into the random treasure draws.
Or, well, but you'll see it on top and go, well, it's clearly alchemy is going to be next, so I'm going to search. Unless
No. The components are... The alchemy cards aren't in the treasure deck. The components are. It's probably asking a bit much.
it's a long quest. Yeah, it's kind of ambitious. It's probably just like 1 or 2, something simple.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm like,
Like
is
the
it going to
video
be as
game trope.
simple?
You mix.
Is it going to be as simple as one, or is it going to be two?
Red and blue, and you get purple. Okay.
Yep.
That's how it works.
Yep.
My first impression was thinking. So I was just thinking, okay, what's the alchemy deck? Oh, it's just another treasure deck.
Yeah.
So maybe you're the magical dude, and you're in a magical area or whatever, and you're like, instead of searching for treasure, I'm gonna search for alchemy. And so you just draw a card. Oh, look, I got the heroic brew. I got it's crafted. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
how
I
I
don't
imagine.
think
Maybe
that's how it's going to
Maybe
work.
That's not how.
I think it's going to be a mixture of,
Homebrew.
they've got the rehashes of some of the previous potions with, all, where they've made some of them cheaper or more expensive or whatever, or they've
they're just
or they've
sent out
taken-
quests, and you're just
they've
like, yeah,
taken
which one do you want to buy?
the character specific restrictions off some of them.
Because yeah, if you
then I
mix
think-
into the treasure deck, you're gonna just see it's alchemy, unless there's
Right.
bad cards in here too. Like, oh,
Well, and that, I mean that, and now you're
face.
now you're kind of playstyle dependent. Like the way I run the game, the treasure deck is behind Zargon's screen.
Yeah. Well,
So in my game, it would work fine because I'm the only one who would know that they're about to draw alchemy. They wouldn't know. The
yeah,
heroes
but then
would
you
not
can
know.
throw. Yeah, you can throw any card in there. Like, oh, you got a dread spell.
Yeah, I could, but I don't.
You got a bicycle.
I keep the treasure deck pretty vanilla most of the time. But what it looks like to me is, you'll find
Reserve
some of them.
Surprise.
Since the ones that say crafted don't have a price, my assumption is the only way to create them is by crafting them.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's how many components will you actually need?
yeah.
What I'm assuming is that you're probably going to have... It's just probably going to be one of those things where there's going to be one component card that kind of is each possible permutation, right? So that one was like dexterity or defense. There's going to be one that's going to be like
Okay.
heroic brew or defense. There's going to be another one that's going to be heroic brew or dexterity, etc.
Let's pour over this. So here is the outdoor garden area, the realm of reflection.
Definitely, yeah, it's definitely like a garden or an
Yeah.
atrium or something. It's
a
like...
prison. You get teleported here and you sit and think about it. Think about what
Yeah,
you do in your life.
it doesn't scream Realm of Reflection to me. I'm like, it's just a little garden with some paved walkways through it, and maybe
Or
that's like
is
a
it?
pedestal where the statues go or something.
Everything is not as it seems. There's magic in the air. I mean, could be. And then if you flip this
Yeah.
over, what's on the back? Is it blank? Is it the same image?
I think
Or is it
we
something
actually saw there was some picture that gave a look at the back.
5x6? Okay. Well, we'll keep looking.
Um,
Then
no,
there's-
not that
'cause
one.
This is not made up of tiles. Okay, so these are the members of the cadre of the Ravensvale, except for the one that doesn't have the mask on the face, which I guess is probably the chain elf girl that we're thinking. The she elf with the
Yeah, maybe.
some Japanese name probably for it. I was thinking at first these were keys, but I wasn't looking at a good quality picture. These look like maybe.
Yeah, they look like fancy trapdoors.
Yeah, you're right. Trapdoors. Because I was thinking, oh, it's a leather book that's been opened, but yeah, it looks like a ring.
It's got the
that you
big.
pull
It's got
on.
the big ring that you grab. Yeah.
Yeah, so some fancy trapdoor. Now
Which
what's
is-
this? 5?
No idea.
Flip it
5
over,
and
it says 10.
is that
No, I don't know.
kind of? Is that an hourglass?
It does. So I was thinking like time. A very
Yeah, some kind
stylized
of.
hourglass.
But then it's not showing multiple. It's like it's not showing a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1. It's just a 5. So
It doesn't look like a stack. Yeah, it's just 5.
yeah. So what the heck does that mean? I think we're gonna have to wait and
Five-
see on that one. I have like
uses of-
no clue.
5 uses of time stop, 5 turns. I mean, who knows?
But then how are you supposed to increment it
Warhammer.
downward if you only have a 5?
Yeah, Warhammer
token.
has a lot of, unless they're not showing us something. Warhammer has a lot of these tokens where it's just one number on one side, one on the other. And they're just like
Yeah.
counters, like, oh, this number of wounds, or this number of units, or this number of whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. Could be anything. Here's the caltrops. So you got
Could even
5
be a boat.
Yeah, 5 of those. And what's on the back? Same image or something different? And these masks? Which I
Yeah,
thought
what
was
the heck are they gonna be for?
Yeah, because it's not like this is the reverse side of the cadre. At first I was thinking that's what it was. Like, oh, maybe you get a pool of mercenaries that you can hire. And which one did you get? You flip over, okay, it's that one. But there's only 4. There's one of each.
Well, I'm skeptical. I mean, we'll have to see again, but I'm skeptical that if that's the chain lady, the 5th token, then I don't know that that's a mercenary. Because
Be a monster.
it's sculpted in the light blue that has thus
Oh.
far only been used as enemy figures.
Right. Well, and that wasn't true in the original, but they broke
Right.
the remake by making the heroic elf red.
The new hero is red, yeah.
And the mercenaries were.
But here they've also created a color distinction in the plastic. They've made the deep purple for the
Yeah.
mercenaries.
And that made me
Yeah.
almost wonder if maybe they were an independent faction, but I thought there's no way they can stand on their own. They're too weak. I mean, only 2 body points each. They're gonna.
Yeah,
get
yeah.
slaughtered. It's like
Right.
because I was thinking, oh, maybe it'll be like Space Crusade, where it's like, who's gonna win the quest? Is it the heroes or the? I mean,
Well, and the one we've seen so far, right? The striker has the exact same stat profile as the swordsman.
then I was thinking, well, what if these are like bonuses? Like maybe you unlock the guy by finding him, and then it's like, well, what is this perk gonna be? And you flip it over, and it's something else. Like,
Maybe there could be different, like +1 body point, +1 mind point, +1 defend die, or
pass
something.
through monsters, has a
Oh,
spell,
that's even more complicated than I was thinking.
heal. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, it could be something simple like +1. Yeah, I mean, there's all these tokens. Like before, these would have been tiles, so these would have been pit traps and secret doors and
Right.
stone blocks. I don't see any of those.
Nope.
We don't know what's on the other side yet. But again, they've done this before.
Oh,
to
I
us
do
where they
feel
put the
like
same image
did
on both sides.
see somewhere we did see an image of the other side of that big
Maybe
overlay tile,
Okay, I'm
but
looking
I
closely
can't
on this.
find it on Zavi here.
Do you think these circular ones are mercenary shields, or do you think this is something else?
I know there's 5 of them, which is interesting.
And they're kind
So-
of gold, but they don't. I was thinking
They
they don't
have like a
look like the line.
figure. Is that like a phoenix?
Oh,
I'm trying to figure out what the
it-
image is.
Yeah, it's the crest of the cadre of the Ravensvale again. So
Okay.
maybe when you hire one of these guys, you draw one of these, and you draw one of these. But would you draw one of these too? These like crescent moons? It's like, oh,
The moons are in kind of more
bad guys.
bad guy colors, I would say, and it's
Yeah.
called the Dread Moon. So I would assume the Moon stuff is affiliated with Chaos.
Disguise. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of that Raven's Veil. Yeah, is that a raven? Is that what that's supposed to be?
I guess so. But then I was thinking, well, what if there's a scalable difficulty? And I got a little bit of like this shot.
Or is
down.
that a
People saying, no? What
Is that a sun to counter the moons? Like,
maybe. So maybe when you're like, man, I'm doing well. I've got, 4 mercenaries, and so Zargon's like, okay, well, I get to draw from this pool over here and give myself some bonuses over here.
yeah, I mean, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know what's on the flip side of those, if they're the same or not.
Maybe
we have
these
no
are-
idea how
maybe
they're going to
these
be
are-
used.
Maybe these masks are bonuses, and maybe these moons are like demerits.
Yeah, there's 6. It looks like there's 6 moons? 7 moons.
7, the 7th moon.
Is it something the heroes have to collect or
7
destroy? Yeah.
Find all pieces of the Triforce. Stop Ganon. Land of Hyrule. Okay, and then you've got 5 of those, assuming it's, again, are literal. And 4 of these masks, and these are the caltrops, so I guess you're limited in how many you can buy at a time. And then they got the miniatures again. I don't think there's anything different, it's all the same. And so the
Yep.
mirror, it's like glowing mirror, black mirror. So,
Well, and the mirror has... Is that the same... Is that
turn
the
it
same
around.
image from the back of the Dread spell card?
Oh.
The same, like, crackly,
Color scheme, it looks very similar.
Yeah. But then the other one is just kind of a dark...
The realm of reflection. But I mean, Mage of the Mirror had him. It's like, okay, is the princess in the mirror? Spoilers. Or is she not? Is the bow in the mirror? Is it not? You can walk through the mirror and then you can't go back. Gotta go forward. So yeah, just repeats of these cards again. Here's the quest book, of course. No surprise there. Alright, let's see what's been posted since we've been talking. Oh yeah, I was saying scalable difficulty. I'm probably wrong. But hey. be a cool
I mean, I don't think it's crazy, and I think we may have had this back and forth
They
before just
mentioned it.
because...
They were
Well,
saying in
but
the
also
blog,
remember...
it'll be for new players and
And
veterans
I mean, that
experience.
could just be your typical marketing puffery.
Yeah, true.
But the thing that I think that always occurs to me, though, right, is, you've been pretty outspoken, and I agree with you that, the circumstances, and it's, I don't necessarily put it on the actual people working on the game so much. Like, the circumstances where Frozen Horror and Mage of the Mirror originally came out, they kind of just had to rush them onto shelves in order to get any sales of them at all. So they didn't get to play test them. They're really
Yeah.
overtuned. And I actually don't mind that. I'm kind of I'm not gonna be trying to tune them down or anything. I think the kind of players I'm gonna be playing with are gonna be able to handle it and are gonna enjoy the challenge.
Warning,
But-
before playing this quest, make sure your heroes are completely overpowered and lazy.
Right.
And
They need to be
really
decked out, and they need to have a good grasp of how how the game works.
They
Like,
need to have the fear of God put back into them. So this quest will do it.
but it
As
does.
opposed to
It
like,
does.
Oh, your first quest, you're gonna get destroyed, pal. You're gonna hate
Yeah,
the
but it-
game.
But it does make you wonder, right? If this is a direct sequel to Mage of the Mirror, well, Mage of the Mirror has some pretty crazy difficulty in some of those quests.
And they did
And if
soften it a little bit in the remake in the box.
Yep, they made the ogres weaker,
Yeah, and they gave.
but they didn't really they didn't remove any of the rooms that are three
gave
three
you-
wolves and 4 chaos warriors or whatever.
But
Like
they did make sure that those empty chests or
Had some
unmarked chests actually had something good in them. Either lots of gold or an artifact that you otherwise never find. So the elf gets
Yep.
boosted up. So there were definitely things that they put in automatically.
yeah, so they helped make it. I think
And
they
let
also
you, they let you hire the
I remember
mercenaries
right.
if you have Frozen Horror too. So
Yep,
that's a big
which was
change.
a good idea, I think. But still, it's still a pretty
difficult. Yeah.
extremely difficult. And so it's like, well, if they recognize that and they said, hey, we shouldn't be making stuff at that difficulty level, I mean, that would, I think, in a vacuum, be a totally reasonable
Well,
direction to
you
go.
compare-
But it's
you
like if
compare,
you're making a direct sequel and the sequel is significantly easier than the thing that comes before it,
yeah,
to at least some groups, that's going to feel a little weird. It's like, hey, wait a minute,
Well,
Mage of
that
the
makes
Mirror was a meat grinder. Why are we waltzing through this without any risk?
This is the victory lap. This is the
Yeah.
relaxed side quest. Yeah. Well, if people were commenting when the Spectres first came out, they said, "Wow, this Channel Dread looks so powerful. They're just gonna walk through walls and kill us." It's like that seems OP. You know, people were saying stuff like that. You know, but it so much depends on the quest layout. Like I feel like
Yeah.
the Mythic tier
And
stuff.
just how
look it over.
often are the Spectres even going to show up?
Yeah, exactly. It's all dependent on quest design. So they can make it super impossible and annoying, or they can make it, fairly reasonable. But with the mythic stuff, I feel like Prophecy of Telor, Spirit Queen's Torment, and Crypt of Perpetual Darkness definitely were challenging, but their level of challenge was nowhere near as over the top as like 1992 Frozen Horror and Mage of the
Right.
Mirror. Just based on number of monsters, number of rooms, number of traps, theoretical, powers of.
I think also those things were limiting themselves to the components that were in the Mythic box.
Yeah, they were. They were
So
something that you had. all that-
they weren't. But what I mean is, right, so no bottomless ice chasms because the Mythic box didn't include the bottomless ice chasm tile, like they weren't, some of the stuff, they couldn't use brand new
Oh yeah.
brand new
Only-
monster types. They could only use the components that were in
Yeah.
the
But
original game.
they could do one-offs with, named characters.
Yeah,
But
you could always do
Joe-
this room is full of orcs that have the stats of Chaos Warriors or
try to say
whatever,
his
but
name, Joe Manganiello.
Yeah.
Say it right?
Joe Manganiello, I think, something like that.
He says it to Pee Wee Herman like 10 times in a video. Go check it out, I guess. But yeah, with his though, he had some new room tiles and he had a new character.
He had a dragon.
Who was used once,
Yep.
right? But halfway through his 10 quest expansion, it's just like, oh, every bad guy every boss has Firestorm, Cloud of Dread, aka Cloud of Chaos, or Command. Like they've got the strongest chaos spells. So he didn't care. He was just like, this is the pack made by the kid that's out to punish you after you ruined his perfect quest.
Mhm.
So he tried to make it hard, but still, I think even with that, you're talking about one character battle. The rest of
Mhm.
the quest, not nearly as punishing as, and it's not just with the Frozen Horror and Mage of the Mirror. It's not just the solo quests that are broken. Like
No, the group quests,
the Yeti,
yeah.
the group quests are
They're-
ridiculously punishing.
Yeah, they frequently put you in rooms with absurd amounts of
Yeah,
incoming
every
attack
quest is
dice.
like 4 quests in one, just about.
Yeah, they're right. The maps are all big and they have
Very
packed monsters.
If you're an
And-
adult trying to play this in one session with your friends, good luck. I know there's
Right.
people that play D&D for 8 hours or Axis and Allies, but it's more like these are the kids that don't play video games and they're just like, we're going to beat this if it kills us. Like, we're going to go power through this. Whereas most
Yeah,
of us
so-
are like, this is ridiculous.
So
you've seen
part
us
of
on
me-
stream, we try, week after
Yeah.
week, month after month, and we're almost done, and it's been an amazing journey.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of fun, but it's like, dang.
There are also, logistical challenges to playing online that slow things down.
There are
It's hard to get
I don't
that
blame
as streamlined as
Well,
as you're capable of getting it in person, but
can you imagine us playing like the Rescue of Sir Ragnar with people in the chat buying potions and monsters and stuff? That would be very different than like playing,
yeah.
the Deadly Depths, let's say, with all that stuff, because it's like that's we really need that extra help a lot of the time.
Right. But anyway,
but
the
we
larger
can
point, I
right
guess, was
Yeah.
that is an element, though, that makes me wonder if it's actually not just kind of the standard marketing puffery. Like, are they actually going to have, maybe two different kind of difficulty modes expressed somehow? One for the people who are like, no, I don't want to have a huge challenge drop off after Mage of the Mirror, and another if it's like, oh, if you're just playing this as the first quest pack that you start after the base, the game
Yep.
system,
not that tough to do it. And yes, just a simple sentence. If this hero character has played other quests, has completed other quests, he gets this. If he hasn't, then he gets this. And so
I was also thinking things like, what we've seen. If you remember the way that they did
color-coded.
Dark Company, right, where the sections were all color-coded, but they used a lot more colors than are typically seen in a quest book.
Yes. Yeah,
right, but you could like
blue and green.
You could like color code the monsters and the traps and stuff to be like, hey, these traps are only present if you want the hard version.
Right, exactly. And then Zargon makes the choice, and you make it simple enough that because the big part of HeroQuest is making it up, absolutely, making your own stuff.
And I also think if they did do something like that, I don't think it would go as far as like the system that I forget who it was has on Yield in somewhere, right? Where it's like scaling from like 1 to 5.
Forgive me, I don't know if he was the first one. But yeah, somebody did it where you'd have like the green monsters, the yellow monsters, the purple monsters, the red monsters. And several other people copied it and kind of expanded it. But yeah, the first guy to do it on Yield, and I forget. Sorry. Whoever you are, great idea. But
I am very skeptical that they would make it that. It would be like 2. They're always there, and they're there if you're making it hard, and that would be as far as it would go.
Well, because you're gonna make your own quests before you just remix the same quest and play it 100 times. Yes, it's true. Back in the day, as kids, like we would play the trial with like our siblings, and then we play the trial with our neighbor. We play the trial with our parents.
I've run the trial way more than any other quest.
It's a rite of passage. It's not nearly as hard as Frozen Horror, but it's pretty tough. But the point I was trying to make is, so HeroQuest, yes, there's a great desire to make it, to make the stuff yourself, play it yourself. The other thing is, there's a great appeal of HeroQuest where, oh man, I don't have to study all these books and do all this prep work. I just want to take it out of the box and play it with minimal plot put into it. Like, it's got to be a relaxing, easy game. So some people prefer that. Those people are going to gravitate towards the quality of these quests, the ease with which you can get into it. So if there's options, that's great, but they got to be simple, straightforward, easy to read, easy to understand.
Right. You don't want to overwhelm people.
And here's the thing: if you do the scalable difficulty, when you finally put it into the companion app, which of course you're going to do. Sorry, naughty picture. It's going to be so much easier because you can just say, "Oh, are you going to play with mode A or mode B?" And then in the app,
it's an easy selection, and then
just like those toggles where they're like, "Oh yeah, double wandering monsters. All monsters have one extra body point, mind point, whatever." So it'd be another way because with the companion app, you play it once and you've done it. Like, okay, there's a lot of people out there that say, "Oh man, I wish I could play HeroQuest, but I don't have any friends. I can just play it by myself." It's like, dude, come to HeroQuest fans. Oh, I'm busy on a Saturday. Okay, fine. Yeah, we tried to help you, but it's like, you play it through the app, and there's no option to remix the quest. So if you get a total party kill, guess what? You go through it again, and
it's exactly the same.
Everything, and that's not how it's supposed to be. I mean, yes, ideally you want Zargon there, and bless the guys that are working on that program, because clearly they have to create all these new gimmicks. Like all the gimmicks that you see in this quest, like the monsters passing through walls, they're gonna have to program
rules for it. Yep,
and make it like some semblance of challenging and interesting. So they have an uphill battle. So, and it's not like an ad supported thing. It's a free app. So other than just getting like the word out, like it's probably not the highest priority compared to all this other stuff. So if they get it right on paper first, that's what they need to do. Then they can do, like the Into the Northlands with Frozen Horror to try to kind of like tighten things up and fix it and pay attention to feedback. And that's another thing you want to do for customers. I'm not saying I'm the customer service guy, but the fact that you're thinking in your head all the stuff, but the fact that you say it out loud to your customers is a big deal. Like, it's like, oh, he just repeated back the thing I said to him. He's actually paying attention. So it's so cheesy when you get companies saying, "We have heard you," da 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 da. You asked for it. Now but it's still important to have that give and take. So I think when they make it clear that, okay, yes, they're being inspired by fan ideas, that's a cool thing. They're taking feedback from past quest books that we've criticized. That's really a big deal, and that builds your customer loyalty. It gets people excited for the next one because they see how it's handled. They learn their lessons, they improve. Because Avalon Hill, I mean, they were not attached to HeroQuest until this remake. They were a completely different company. A lot of HeroQuest players had never heard of them. And now they're synonymous with HeroQuest, so there's expectations. And I don't know what they're going to do with the Sir Ragnar thing, but I was thinking like, okay, maybe that inner box is going to say, and Sir Ragnar's in there. But then you've got the problem of now nobody knows that except the people that watched the campaign unfold. So I guess we'll
Now
have to wait for the
I don't
sequel.
know if I actually expect this to be true, but I pitched this on the Discord a little earlier. Is
Oh, the Discord, yes.
something if like one thing I'm sort of concerned about is sort of the long run, not necessarily right now, but we've seen 2 of these like new hero packs, right, where it's like, okay, a couple new hero minis and some cards and
Yeah. Well, the Guardian Knight was limited run, but
right, but then we saw the Rogue. But so we've seen them add 2 new heroes that are just sold separately that you can just add into your game.
yeah.
And there's some people who are like expecting them to just keep churning those out, and I'm like, this game was originally, it had 4 heroes. I don't know personally that I would want to reach a point where there's like 20 different hero options floating around that are all officially released by Avalon Hill. Some people might like that. I wouldn't.
Yeah. Well,
But there might
you just
still
don't buy
be.
it and they don't make
Yeah.
don't get your money.
But there might still be, they might say, you know what, that would be oversaturating it, right? Like that would be too. Maybe they have that mindset of there's a point where it becomes too many. And I'm not saying we're already at that point either. I'm just noting that
Shout out to Runemaster 13. Welcome to HeroQuest.
Yeah.
Discord.
Maybe they don't.
Board game.
Yeah, maybe they don't want to, get to a point where there's 50 different heroes. Like, I don't know.
That's HeroQuest, the living board game.
The
You know what they do with card games.
Yeah.
The Expendables. HeroQuest edition.
I mean, unless the game starts going in a direction where you have larger parties or something, right? Because like
Oh,
everything has.
Warband.
Yeah, everything has still been written to say, hey, you bring 4 heroes. And I think the more hero options there are, the more players are going to start asking, like, hey, why can't we bring 5? Why can't
Yeah.
we bring 6?
I've done 5 hero quests. It certainly takes longer.
Yeah. And, it just, there's also, I don't think there's no value. I don't think it's a reason to never change ever, but I also think that, saying, hey, this is the way it's always been, there is value in looking at that and saying, okay, well, we shouldn't necessarily overturn that just because.
Skulls wide shut. I got to cover a couple of these. Go ahead. Sorry, finish your thought.
Yeah.
And then I want to cover a couple of the things people have been saying in the Discord.
So, upshot is, right, we've seen that they've had these kind of smaller scale mini sets where it's like, okay, it's just a couple minis and a few cards.
Yeah, we've seen
What if they start going in a direction where those aren't always a brand new hero class? And it was like, what if they're following this up a few months later with a Sir Ragnar pack?
Oh, yeah. Good Sir Ragnar,
'Cause,
bad Sir Ragnar.
Right, like, or, the mythic Sir Ragnar, the Sir Ragnar in chains with the torch, was an exclusive that a lot of the people now getting invested in the game don't have reasonable costed access to. You could have a new, different sculpt of prisoner Sir Ragnar
Rip
and
Sir
an evil
Ragnar,
boss Sir Ragnar or
Couch
something.
potato Sir Ragnar. He's got the gut hanging out, and then the
Yeah.
other guy's like just shredded. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Paint him.
Ripped Sir Ragnar and lazy, what's it?
Ragnar and-
Fat Thor Sir Ragnar.
Yep, Sir Ragnar in beach gear, business suit Sir Ragnar, future
Yeah.
Sir Ragnar. Yeah.
But I think, right, we've talked before about kind of the dynamic of, hey, how do they open up some of that exclusive stuff in a way that makes sense, that doesn't necessarily devalue the existing stuff or
Yeah, because
isn't completely superfluous to people who already own it either.
right, because they're not. I don't think they're as big as like Games Workshop, where they can just afford to just make all these fire and forget
Yeah.
special editions.
No, I don't think so.
just assume that their main audience is just going to buy it and then complain about it but still buy it.
Yep.
So there was a comment here from Hispazargon. He's saying maybe these are tokens for hidden deployment of monsters, like the use of blips in Space Crusade. I was like, oh, sweet. Now there's only 4 of them, but yeah, I mean, who knows, right? There could be so many different ways these tokens could be used. It's kind of like the mystery tokens from the other sources. It's like, use them for whatever you want. Just use your imagination.
I mean, weren't there a couple tiles in the Mythic Tier box that just didn't get used for anything? And it was like they had some of the symbols from the rulebook on them or something. There was like the hero symbol and the Zargon symbol or something. It was
that
like
was in the game system, and that was not used at all until Into the Northlands, the digital quest for Frozen Horror. They just said, well, you could use this to represent the wolf if you wanted.
right, but even then, it's like the using the Dread Warlock figure to. It's like you can use it to represent this, but it's not. The image isn't on the tile isn't representative of the thing it's being used to represent.
Just a random thing, and you could use it for anything.
What I mean is, I'm wondering if hopefully these all have specific purposes, but they're not just giving us random tiles.
Yeah, here's a bunch of random crap. Use your imagination, have fun, kid. Like, okay. So Verg is saying, so interesting that each of the Cadre of the Raven's Veil has a token here, but there's a 5th token mixed in. I'm guessing it's the blue token character elf, perhaps. That's a main character we do not know about yet. I'm not sure if she's wielding, see, I was looking for the name. Kusarigama.
Yeah.
Or it's a dagger and chain. In either case, this is a assassin-like character. So she throws the dagger across the corridor, spikes you with the knife, and then she reels it back in with the chain. It's like a low-budget version of the rogue with his magical bandolier. No, who knows? Or maybe she's like this was Hispazargon's other idea. Maybe she's like the Yeti, and she throws the chain around you and puts you in the hug or something.
And hugs you to death.
Chokes you with the chain.
See,
You're looking at the cover. It's likely a dagger and not a Kusarigama.
Yeah, you can see a picture that might be the same character kind of on the side of the...
Because it's like, this is the female elf. And I was like, the female rogue, but she's evil? Why is she attacking her? So I guess it's this other character. So it's an enemy of some kind. So my whole thought that, well, maybe the heroes get possessed and turned into ghosts in this game. I mean, no evidence to support that. I still love that idea, though, and I would love to homebrew it. Just something crazy. Where's the vampires? Where's the other creatures?
Okay, so the image on the front of the quest book, you can see more of her.
Yes.
Definitely looks like she's being positioned as a enemy. Like, it looks like the elf is jumping the direction where she's gonna put her sword through the back of the well, I guess they're both elves, but the elf hero is jumping with her sword, looking like she's gonna put it through the back of the chain wielding woman's head.
Yeah.
And it definitely looks like it's not a dagger to me. It looks like you can see that the chain is connected to the
I never
hilt of the blade.
I've seen this image many times, and that chain, I was thinking that was a piece of trim like on her outfit. I wasn't.
Well, if you look at the image from the front cover is the version we've mostly seen, and that one cuts off. You can't really tell that it's a chain.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not showing that image.
Yeah.
I zoomed in on it, and I was just still looking at the Discord. My bad. All right, where's the window capture? Let's get the Discord out of there. Hold on a second. Okay, that's what I was trying to look at. All right, see that?
Mm-hmm.
There's the chain right there. Yeah, I'm just now noticing it.
Well, so if you look at the version of that image that's on the quest book, so if you find the thing that shows...
Okay.
Yeah, find the picture, I think it's the last one on Zavi. It has all of the... Yeah, right, so if you zoom in on that...
It's a wider
Right, it's a wider version of the image, and you can see... Right, you can see how now it's a chain being held in her other hand, and it's all completely linked to the hilt of the dagger. So it does look like it's some kind of blade on it. Yeah, it's some sort of weapon which is like a blade on a chain.
Yeah.
I wonder if we might see, like, for the first time, like a limited range weapon. Like
yeah,
maybe she can attack stuff up to 2 squares away or something.
Or it might just be a diagonal attack for all we know.
Could be. That could also be.
You
That's
would
a
think
reasonable
it's kind of
guess as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe there'll be a new weapon that you could buy that would be the same thing, or maybe it's just for that character. So many.
Who knows?
Yeah, good.
There
call.
is some. I mean, there is some new equipment cards, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna see. You know, that's what we've also said before, right? Is when card based, you don't have sort of the armory that's supposed to be all inclusive. It's a little easier to make
I still
to
think
expand.
I still think it would be nice to just have a poster that has
Yeah.
all the stuff, so you can look at the menu rather than look through the cards. I want this. Do I want this? Because the more
Yeah,
it's true, the more
I don't.
options you give,
I
the
don't
players,
disagree.
the longer
but-
it's going to take for them to pick stuff. Like, I like the shopping phase of Hero Quest. It's kind of like the create a wrestler thing in
Yeah.
wrestling games. Like, it's almost a game in itself. It's like, oh man, I got all this gold. Okay, I'm going to get the chainmail, and I'm going to get, this potion, and I'm going to stack it with this thing, and I'm going to sell this other thing off so I have enough. And hey, can you give me some
Right.
of your gold so I have enough to get that?
And the next thing you
I'll-
know,
I'll trade you-
your your game session is over. Everyone's is getting ready to go home, and
But they're
you
like,
spent the whole time shopping.
yeah, but that's part of the game. Otherwise, they just automatically give you whatever you happen to need. Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of like dice rolling. Like, I think rolling dice is fun. Some people don't like it, so they don't want to do it, or they take it out of the game. Whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, the shopping phase. You could just say, oh yeah, everybody's stuff automatically upgrades to exactly what they need in the quest. You could do that.
You could.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't either, but you could.
But it's true.
If it
okay,
works
the
for your
shopping
group,
may
you know?
take an hour. It's like, listen, you need to get the right stuff, because these next quests, you're gonna need all the help you can get. So better get the right stuff.
But yeah, so that tile does look like it's that character, right? It's got the red scarf and it's got the
I have no
hair,
doubt
like,
that's what it is.
but there's 2 miniatures for her, and she's cast in the same color plastic as the, like, elven
Well, yeah. So
enemies.
she's a monster.
Right, so it's like, why are there tiles for the 4 mercenaries that are supposed to be allies, and then also a tile for just one of the monsters? It's interesting. I always thought that it was such a not intuitive theme song for him, and yet somehow it worked.
He's graduated to the big leagues. Okay. I'm just gonna hop over to HeroQuest fans. I need to see what's happening. Oh, thank you, Strange Bus, for 2 gift subscriptions.
Yeah, I mean, I think so much here is just going
so
to
much
depend
on the
on.
pictures. I haven't actually.
Haven't
Oh,
been
man.
watching the chat.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, I did my own potion deck, says Ribby. I guess I should redo it now. Yes, you should. No, I'm kidding. Elbyler says also just ends their movement, not their turn. Oh, he's talking about the caltrops, so they could still attack.
Right, so even if they stop, right, they might be able to still
Well,
do something.
Did it say end movement or just end turn? I
It said end movement.
Oh, not your move, but your movement. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that does change things. Yeah, so
Well, they don't. This isn't.
Closer.
You know, some games use your move as like your turn, but
Yeah.
HeroQuest doesn't typically. So if it says it ends their
The
move,
North
I think it.
American version, yeah, just changes that up. Okay. Ribby says if Zargon takes control of a hero, can he use that hero's caltrops? Yes. Yes, he can.
I would tend to say yes,
Command-
although
Command is kind of like the elixir of life. It implies a lot, but it doesn't tell you.
yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of you got to use your best judgment. I think,
Yeah.
right? Like
It
as
might
as
be-
Zargon, if you get command to land on a hero, you could be like, I throw all the hero's gear on the floor, you know, like
jump on it, and then I throw myself screaming into a pit.
yeah.
Flip my own throat. Good night.
Yep.
But I definitely feel like the spirit of
pass
those
the rock,
things
and
is
I
that
walk right into solid rock and stay there.
yeah. Right. The spirit of those things, though, is that the hero is supposed to act in a way that's like they're trying their hardest to fight. Just now, they're fighting for the other side.
Right. Sorry, brother. Ugh. Okay, so Elviler says that would make the rogue especially deadly. Would the rogue be able to throw these? Throw them.
It doesn't say you can throw caltrops.
They're
It
not
says
daggers, but
you drop
No,
them on a
I don't
space that
think
you
so.
move
Yeah.
through.
yeah. So, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you're thinking like a homebrewer rather than like literal rules reader, which is weird because HeroQuest is kind of in that gray area where it's like a lot of the stuff is vague enough that people just make it up anyway, or they just go, I could make that better, and they just change it. But then there's other people that are like, no, that's not what the rules say. So you get the rules lawyers. You don't want to be that. Not at the table. Comrade Polsky says, there we go. There's some fun redemptions. Yeah. Oh no, my bad. I thought you were playing. I just talked about the game. Sorry. Well, Polsky, I know this is an old comment, but I'm going to say anything that you bought in the chat for us will be usable in the next game because it'll be queued up. So it won't go to waste. So I appreciate it. So if they're buying monsters and potions, it's going to be usable in our next game next week. Let's see. Ribby says the 5 is actually an S and it stands for hope. Yes, it does. Because it ebbs and flows, right? Hope Man confirmed. Strangebus says, hey, sorry guys, I couldn't make it. Hope you're having a great stream. I know he's got a lot to do, and thanks for the 2 gift subs. That's awesome. He slipped. All right, I'm just curious to see what people. But yeah, I always wanted to record this. Oops. Okay, if I can get the screen. You guys still with me? If I put you to sleep.
Yeah,
All right, just checking.
I'll be re-listening to myself tomorrow
Yes.
morning when you repost this.
Only happy accidents. Okay, so HeroQuest fans, rewards and challenges. So you can see I can get anything for free. That's why I don't do it. But these are our rewards here. So you use your channel points, your gold coins during a quest when we're playing live. Right now we're just talking. Now if you're watching on YouTube, it's not live. But anyway, these are the things that you can redeem your gold for. So you're lurking, you're building it up. You follow, you get more. You sub, you multiply it. So you can buy stuff for your old pal Uncle Zargon. Get stuff for the heroes, get stuff for the chat. You can annoy me. I start to fall asleep. You play his name is John Cena. It always happens. Bonus equipment upgrade. Okay, how to earn gold coins. See, it even tells you, but it's way at the bottom. So if I click this, there should be a way I can view the queue. Review rewards queue. So there's 3 of them in there. So is it going to show me what they are? No. Okay, so somebody bought bonus equipment. Oh, Ribby's chucking them in. They're going to be in the next quest. So it's an upgrade for a monster. Bonus equipment for a hero. Choose option 6. Well, what's option 6? Reshuffle the deck. So it's definitely going to be a reshuffle. And then upgrade a monster. Nice. Well, hey, I'm not stopping you. Keep doing it. It's going to be great. Next quest is going to be epic.
Got a lot of points to spend.
Yeah, well, you lurk long enough, you're going to have stuff.
Yes.
See, it's just like the gold sink. I mean, but the thing is, I can always like raise the prices if it gets out of hand. But I lowered the prices because I wanted it to be like, okay, I know you're not going to sit for the whole 4 hours. Yep, there we go. His name is John Cena. Yeah, so you're gonna enter the chat. You're only gonna have maybe a short time. You want to do something, have an impact. Go for it. Why not?
John Cena? Where? I don't see him.
See, or don't see. Okay.
Don't hear.
All right. So I think that's gonna be pretty much it. Do you guys have some closing thoughts? I know I've been talking nonstop, but what do you think of these reveals about the Frozen Horror, Rise of the Dread Moon? HeroQuest Rise of the Dread Moon, July 17th. What do you think?
I mean, I think I still have a million questions that are really only going to be answered when, sort of the actual new rule, whatever the new rules are and the contents of the new quests are actually available. I think a lot is just still riding on, are these quests good? Are they fun to play? Are they, do they add some tricks that are, that we've never. I mean, we know they're adding some tricks we've never seen before, but it's like, hey, do they work? Do they make the game better?
I'm holding out heavily for Ragnar.
Yeah,
I was
maybe
really
there's
excited.
a secret. Is there a secret
After all that
Ragnar in the
talk
box?
and all that artwork about Ragnar, I was expecting a Ragnar character, but
Where's the kaboom? Well,
where's he at?
And the thing is, like, there's going to be people, like there always are, who say, "Oh, if you can't say anything nice about this product, don't say anything at all." I'll be like, "No, say it." That doesn't make you. That doesn't make you a toxic fan. That just makes you a person who is like giving feedback.
Yeah, but I mean, say it constructively, right?
Yeah. Don't threaten to kill anybody or destroy anything. Just don't break any laws.
Have actual criticism and feedback, not just this product sucks.
It sucks because, and let me count the reasons why.
I mean, I also don't think even if it ultimately winds up being a disappointment, I don't think it's going to be that it sucks. I just think it's going to be that I hoped it would be more.
Yeah, it may be that, and it's not that, because I think a lot of times with franchises, I'm not saying HeroQuest is like this. People take it the wrong way. They say, "Oh, these fans, they're so entitled. They're just impossible to please. How did you expect?" It's like,
wow.
Most of the time, it's not like that. Most of the time, you get a standard of quality, and then it's like, okay, well, I would expect the next product to be at least as good as that.
And when we're talking HeroQuest here, we're talking the first retail release in 30 plus years. There's some hype.
Yeah, I have relatively high expectations because it's like, hey, make this worth my while. Like, you made me wait 30 years for this. It better live up to the expectations, and it's it's not.
It's not unfair to expect that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I assume Avalon Hill is, they probably came at this with I would imagine with a mindset of, we really want this to be a home run. People haven't seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Haven't seen this anything new in this in so long.
Yeah. For all we know, their careers, their franchise could be on the line. I mean, if this is a flop, maybe they won't make new content for HeroQuest.
Yeah.
Like,
does the future plan just get axed?
Because my impression, and it could be totally wrong, could be complete fantasy, is you got this little corner of Hasbro Gaming called Avalon Hill, and it's like, we trust you guys to do it right, here you go. But they expect results. So if they are perceived as screwing up, guess what? Funding goes somewhere else. Yeah, let's put you guys on a different project. That sort of thing could happen. Well, let's stick with something that's safer.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think, right, they probably have more rope than other higher profile brands do, but that rope is also not unlimited.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Wizards of the Coast, they've made huge mistakes, and they've been able to just kind of like roll over and keep on going somehow. So it's like they could get away with more than Avalon Hill with HeroQuest. So I hope for their sake, because of that,
Magic makes a absurd amount of money.
That they do a good job on this. Not that fans just blindly buy it, because that's not the way to do it, because you're voting with your wallet. I don't care what anyone says, it's true. And that they learn from their mistakes. So the parts that they do poorly, they'll improve upon. The stuff that hit, okay, they'll learn. Okay, that's what people want. Keep on going. And not just like some companies where they don't understand what the product was, why it was loved in the first place, so they just kind of copy it endlessly, and they just kind of throw it at you, and it looks like an AI made it. It's like, that's not the way to do it either.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some already, I think, some strong evidence, right, that they do understand, like the Spectre is a direct answer to
Oh,
the
door blocking.
decades of people saying, it gets cheesy if the heroes just adopt the strategy and then just use it every single time.
And
Yeah.
I said, all right, what
Even
if
though-
there was a monster that could walk through walls and pop out behind the heroes and like,
it's an idea that's time has come because there was nothing wrong with that technique. It wasn't a bug. They told you to do it.
Right,
It was like,
but-
here's a smart strategy.
sometimes for some
everybody does
groups
it
they said it's
all the
not
time.
fun
Yeah,
if
'cause
the
they're
heroes can do it with impunity and it never has a chance of backfiring.
Right. If they always do it consistently, yeah. Just like Stephen Baker famously said, or infamously said in the interviews, like, I set up the game thinking little boys are going to play this and they're not going to want to work together because they're competitive and they're going to lose. So once they learn to work together, then the game becomes easy. So it's
Yep.
like they have that character arc, but then after that, but what if you start from that from scratch?
Or what if you
Try to
just
make it
reach a point where it's become easy, but you want some challenge
I want
again?
something different, yeah, something new.
To
Well, guess what?
very briefly.
Start over
Yeah.
with basic heroes again. Like, no, I can't do that. So it has to be you're a level 99, like,
Yep.
chaos god. Like, okay.
I mean,
Seacon
just
Shem
sort of-
says, I buy one copy to paint and one to leave in its original plastic glory. I know what he means. But
Yeah.
but
I do not.
We're the super fans.
Yeah.
See, I don't
I
have
mean, but even then, right? There's going to be layers to that, right? Like I'm only going to buy one copy.
Yeah.
And I would say I already have one criticism, which is that the reuse of the existing elven sculpts
Well,
is a little, just a smidge underwhelming. I don't think it's like,
it gives you more. of
Yeah,
what you
I don't
want.
think it sinks the quest pack or anything. I'm just noting that's like, okay, but, those could have been brand new sculpts of something, and instead they were reused.
They're saving money. They're getting use out of the molds that they already have. And
For
they
sure.
Use those resources to make new stuff in the future.
Yeah, I mean, and again, some of it's gonna, if again, it's, the principle, right, of, they can't just assume you already have them. So, hey, if you're supposed to be fighting a bunch more elves in this quest pack, then it makes sense to say, well, we need some elf enemy figures for that.
Well, you
So
know
maybe
what?
it'll ultimately feel like it makes sense,
Yeah.
but it is just sort of, I find the quest packs, the old classic ones, right, like Keller's Keep Witchlord, those always struck me as the low effort ones, because it was just like, okay, they just made a bunch more of the figures you already have.
If we're gonna reuse molds, then I demand a dice pack.
New color. Oh, a dice pack. Interesting.
Translucent, specter-colored dice.
Well, there's already
Yeah.
Avalon Hill guys. Oh, that's our cue. We're just about done here. I was going to say Avalon Hill guys, no Pinkertons, of course, but if you go to Etsy, you will find people who are selling all kinds of HeroQuest dice, and including all the transparent colors.
Yep.
I just got to say.
They're probably also selling a million other kinds of dice too, but
Yeah, but the point is, yeah, that's going to happen these days. But if you want to get in on some of that action, here's your chance. I mean, check and see if those guys are actually making sales. I guess that's the first point. Like maybe nobody's buying it, because just because something's on Etsy doesn't mean it's selling. But
true.
chances are it is, or they wouldn't be putting it on there. Okay, so
I think they are.
yeah, they are. Yeah. So Rise of the Dread Moon, go check out Elvyler's Game Room, elvyler.com. ELVYLER.com. 6-minute read, so don't pass it up. And I always appreciate these articles, even though this one I'm just now looking at it. Like I'm just now reading it because I was trying frantically to catch up with everything. But he does a nice little analysis of each piece. And so I think I'll probably read this when I'm like more awake, and I'll go, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this or that. The other thing, I want to ask you guys though, I know we're at the end here, but where else can we see like images? Like you're talking about maybe we saw the back of some card or we saw the underside of some tile somewhere.
I don't know. That I want to say it might have actually been in Amalgamash's video, but it might have also just been bad resolution, making it
Good
look
morning, Brave
different
Adventure.
than it
Welcome back to
already
the channel.
was.
Okay. Good morning, Brave
You know.
Adventures.
Yeah. There was what I thought there was something about that I thought was the flip side of the overlay tile, but it might have just been a poor resolution image.
It was a phantom. It was.
I can't remember. I'll have to go back and watch the video again, see if I can spot it, and
well,
see if he
I
says,
will-
says where he got it from.
Everybody go watch Amalgamash's videos. I'll watch them too. Again, I didn't want to watch him ahead of time because I didn't want to like be too influenced by him. See, because he's an influencer. No, it's because I like to just kind of have a more raw reaction as much as you can to it. And yeah, I'm gonna get some things wrong. I'm gonna figure some things out later. Go, oh, of course, it's the chain, duh. But I'm gonna watch his videos, listen to his videos, and maybe agree with him on some things, disagree on other things. Just figure it out. So yeah, definitely check him out. See what you think. Leave a comment for him. I consider him a friend of the stream, even though he's doing his own thing. He doesn't. We don't see him in the Discord very much. I don't think I've seen him in a long time. He's doing his own thing. I think he was shying away a little bit from the D&D rhetoric. People were getting really angry about that, but that's been a while. So he's always welcome back to come and tell us what he's thinking. But I know how it is because when you're running your own channel, especially one that's the size of his, because he's really grown, you got to keep at it. Because I mean, I don't stream for a week or two, and people just like drop.
I mean,
they're looking for
it's-
info. They're not looking for me. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah, and I'm
I
cool
think-
with that. I do it for fun, and I'm sure he does too. But he's also trying to do like a business thing with it. So it's like you got to do that.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess we can kind of skip ahead. I think he's just looking at the same image as we are. But for all we know, there's somebody on Reddit
Yeah,
somewhere.
you know what I think it is that I was looking at it, I wasn't blowing it up. I wasn't like full screening the video. It's that when I actually now look at the higher resolution image of the back of the box, it's that their specters are sitting on the tile in the picture.
Oh yeah.
And in the video originally, it looked the distortion effect from the transparent made it look like it was like it was like a ruined version of the tile or something. But I think it's just that there's specters sitting on it.
Okay. Hold on. Is he gonna say it? Everybody, be quiet.
I'm back, and actually, I wanted to take a little bit more.
Oh, never mind. I was gonna say, "Good morning, Brave Adventures." It's a catchphrase.
I'm pretty sure he says it on every video.
Every video. Oh, and by the way,
Or is he?
be like the Bob Ross of HeroQuest. I mean, Amalgamash does a lot of other stuff. He did the Quest Jam, which was really HeroQuest focused and really sweet. Homebrew quests that people submitted. But I mean, he does stuff with like game development and creativity. He spouts off on his own opinions sometimes. I do that too, and it's like, yeah, people probably don't care that much. They don't care what I have to say. They're there for whatever the product is. But you make it entertaining. That's
More of a
kind
deeper
the
look
point.
at the content.
All right,
Alright,
the second
so-
video, he does not say it.
Yeah. But I think he did this one because it's like, just like me, it's like, okay, I did my video, I'm done, nothing's happening. Suddenly, a
Yeah.
flurry of news. You're like, oh, okay, let me try to catch up
addendum, quick.
quick, yeah. Because these guys, I mean, before they sign off for the night, they're like, okay, and click the button, boom, tons of pictures, tons of info we didn't have before, drop it on the public. Yeah, see, he's just looking at the stuff we've been looking at, the Zavi images. But I mean, yeah, I'm curious to see like what his thoughts were for each of these, because probably like us, a lot of his guesses are going to be wrong, but he might have picked up on some clue that we didn't.
Yep.
Yep.
And Sir Death and Always Bored Never Boring and Jordan Sorcery and like a dozen other people's names who I'm forgetting at the moment. What's the guy? The Spanish guy. Cristobal. It's like the Path of the Warrior, the Path of the Hero, but it's in Spanish. I mean, there's all kinds of like people doing HeroQuest stuff on YouTube and other social media. I just look at the YouTube stuff. I don't look at the Facebook stuff. But there's all kinds of people talking, and you may find somebody that picks something up that we didn't notice. And it's fun to like try to outguess each other on these things. Yeah. Sorry, Ash. We're skipping through your video, but I will listen to it in full later on. Okay. Well, I know I did that. Any closing thoughts on Rise of the Dread Moon? I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna wait until it's order rather than pre-order, but that's just a general rule I made for myself after the Guardian Knights.
Yeah, I mean, I think wait and see how much people enjoy the quest content.
Because there's gonna be fan unboxings.
Oh,
And
big time.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and
I'm sure there will be.
I can imagine, like, are either of you going to Gen Con?
No.
Okay.
I intended to originally, but I'm only 5 hours away. I was like, man, I
Closer
just
than me. I'm 6.
can't justify the cost. Yeah.
It is expensive, and I'm thinking like, man, if one of my best friends wasn't going with his wife and wanted me to come, I probably would not.
My intention was to go just by myself, but I'm like, man, it's really it's gonna be so busy.
It's gonna be
There's
so busy, and
so
it's
many
like,
people.
well, trade shows. It's like, okay, maybe you have a couple cool conversations with a couple people. That's fun.
My
You'll see a whole
intention,
bunch
yeah,
of
was
products
just
that you're not gonna
Avalon
buy.
Hill. That was it.
Yeah, just like, hey, there they are. And it's just like, man, if only it was in my hometown. How perfect would that be? But everybody's
Yeah.
thinking the same thing, and they're gonna go to Indianapolis, Indiana. So,
Yep.
get in your race car and go over there. Well, the other thing is, if you don't go to Gen Con, who cares, right? All this stuff's eventually going to come out anyway. The prequel quest will be released online, I'm sure.
Yep.
Just like in the past, and the show itself will be live streamed. Well, okay, it's not the same as being there, but I mean, they'll show you the highlights, whatever they've curated for you. That's the other thing. Read the disclaimers that they have on there in the agreements. It's like, well, we can edit you completely out of the video if we want to. We can monetize your image. It's like, that kind of sucks. But I suppose that's what all these corporations do, and we just kind of bow down. I don't like
I'll
it.
give them an image to monetize.
Yeah, I'll show you the Dread Moon. It's like, wow,
They're gonna.
they're kicking me out. Okay, guys. Well, I think we're getting a little silly, so it's about my bedtime. I'm gonna say have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Not on the Rantcast. The Rantcast will be returning eventually in proper form.
I think you meant the Rantcast.
Well, my voice is going, so I can't do it.
All right.
It was so hilarious. If you watch some of those episodes I did with Strange Bus early on, we had the noise canceling microphone. I'm trying to yell into the microphone, but it's like completely canceling it out. So it's like, it's great. It's great. Yeah, but it will return its proper form. And this Saturday, no HeroQuest fans stream for the game. But on June 24th, we should be back doing the Frozen Horror, and we're really close to finishing. So a couple more rounds, we could be done.
Cool.
All right. Okay, guys, take care. Thanks again for joining us. And do we have anyone we can raid? Is the question. Kale Larson, Warhammer. Why not? No screen time for ugly people. The Uggy Wuggies. Great. Thanks a lot. Okay. All right. We're going to end the stream here, and we'll go ahead and do our raid. Thanks, guys.
Cool.